All right, here we are. This is episode number 38 of Tackle and Tacos, a fishing podcast. We are really pumped for this one. And I know I say that every time, and every time I actually mean it. Like, I'm really, really stoked. This guest that we have on tonight is an absolute, like, stud in more than just fishing. I feel like that's going to be a cool conversation tonight. But yeah, we're coming to you from the large city of Strum, Wisconsin. Nate is there in Davenport, Iowa, holding it down.
Holding it down for the new year.
Yeah.
This is our first episode of 2024.
24, dude.
Man, that's 2024. That's wild. Wild to think, especially considering, Jordan, didn't you graduate in like 1980? So
82. 82.
It was 80. It was 80.
Yeah. 82.
I'm sorry, I was off a bit.
But no, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
first one of the new year. So
let me ask you something, Nate. Let me ask you something, Lola.
What?
As a parent, does New Year's suck? Like, as a parent of kids who are old enough who want to like stay up, does New Year's suck?
Well, it's like you can make it.
Or am I just too
fun,
old?
But like, I just want to go to bed at like 8:30.
Yeah.
Like,
dude.
let's just watch YouTube videos of the ball dropping, and that'll be fine.
Yeah, like turn the clock forward, play a clip from last year.
I'm tired thinking about it already.
Yeah. So this is like the opposite. The funny dynamic, as always, is like we're recording this pre-New Year's. Right. It's going to come out post-New Year's, but I can absolutely feel the tiredness of New Year's and kids being like, "Oh, don't be lame, Dad." And I'm like, "I'm not lame, man. Midnight. Yeah, dude, I'm not lame. Let's get and then I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm all with it till about 9 o'clock, and I've had enough like pretzels and chips and candy and bubbly Welch's, and I'm just over it, dude.
Welch's.
Yes. Yeah. What's that other brand? What's that other brand of like Martinelli's?
Yeah.
Martinelli's is the jam, dude. Yeah. You got if you gonna keep it classy, you got to go Martinelli's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here in our household, we've already gone through one bottle of sparkling Welch's. So
like early, like pre.
Yeah.
We're just partiers.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're prepping for it already. Just getting ready. Good. So
yeah.
Exactly.
Not even through the whole the melody of. I'm just done. Yeah. I'm over it.
I'm tired right now.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. If you're listening to this and you're not already, follow us on Tackle and Tacos on all the socials. Really, it's just Facebook and
there's too many to try to keep up with, dude. So we just keep it simple.
Yeah. We're dropping all the podcasts at the same time. I mean, like, okay, I said that really confusing. So Tuesday, Tuesday, we're doing audio and video same day because
we used to do them
separately because we're like, different crowds, whatever. Yeah. What do you say? Different.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like, I don't want to have people who they were gonna listen, but they're not because now it's on YouTube, or they were gonna listen, but they're not because it's on, but they're different.
They're different
groups of people. Like Nate is very much a podcast watcher.
Yeah.
I'm not a podcast watcher. I'm a podcast listener. And like a couple of weeks ago when we had the new homie Rich from Bass on, his whole thing started via video more than audio. And so like there's a rad need for both, and so we're just gonna
might be some overlap, and that's totally
cool.
Fine. Yeah.
So we're just gonna put them out at 5 a.m. But there will be some episodes, I think, too, that we need to have like more of a video emphasis. So like a while back we did an episode on frogs, and we never put out the video from it. And we had a whole bunch of like visual aid stuff and so stuff like that. It makes more sense to have a video side. So we're just gonna drop everything at 5 a.m. on every Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
Every Taco Tuesday.
Every.
Even right after Christmas and New Year's. So
yeah, everyone.
Yeah. So we stay on top of it. Just like we got to stay on top of these sponsors who make all this stuff, possible for us.
Which one?
No.
Come on,
there it
man.
is. There's the transition. There's the transition noise.
And then you did cricket sounds.
Stay on top of.
You did me wrong.
Yeah, your segue was nice. My sound effects were not. I apologize. Sorry, Nate.
Anyway.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. So thank you to the guys at the Working Class Bowhunter podcast and the podcast network that we are so happy to be a part of.
Absolutely.
Them being willing to ask us to do this and have faith in us to put out a podcast weekly was pretty awesome and extremely humbling. So thank you guys. Thanks to the guys over at Waypoint, who hopefully we'll have on the show here sometime soon.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty cool. But Waypoint TV is where you can find tons of different podcasts,
So much
from
good
Working
stuff.
Class to our stuff, Luke Duncan, like
Yep.
everybody
Ike.
shows, all kinds of stuff. Yep, Ike Live. It's a really cool avenue to go find all your podcasting
And it's free.
needs. 100% free. Yeah, absolutely.
It's
So
totally free.
that's super dope. Of course, Grizzly Coolers and Kenai Gear.
Heck yeah, dude.
We talk about them every week as we should, because we use their products daily. I know I do. So thank you to those guys, and maybe thank you, if you will, to maybe a hopeful sponsor one day, Duke Cannon.
Duke Cannon.
Duke
Duke
Cannon.
Cannon sponsor us. Dude, I was actually just looking. I have my giant summer sausage Duke Cannon chapstick out here somewhere.
Right.
Sausage. That sounds
Dude.
disgusting. You mean the
Hold
size
on.
of it,
It is.
not
Yeah.
the
Not the
scent.
flavor or the scent. Yeah.
It's my summer sausage. Oh, there it is. Yep.
Yeah. Just
Nice
yeah.
chunky boy. Sorry.
That's substantial.
Yeah, it is. It's very
And of course, Hook and Arrow Supply.
Yes, Hook and Arrow Supply,
Gil-Tech.
Yeah, man, those guys just putting out some great products that I cannot wait to use this spring. I mean, it's what, like I said, this is the New Year's episode, and I already have cabin fever. Like,
Dude, it's killing me.
Yeah,
It's awful, dude.
I'm so ready. I might have to make a trip down south somewhere or something and get in some good water. Yeah, so
no offense to the homies out there, like the dude we're about to have on in a second. He's a Midwestern fella as well, so no disrespect to all the Midwestern studs out there, but man, ice fishing is so dumb, dude.
I
like ice fishing, but I don't
love it.
like when I bass, like when I'm fishing for whenever I say bass fishing, like if I'm bass fishing, that sounds so nerdy to me. I'm not sure why.
What?
I don't know.
Fishing
But anyway,
for
when
bass sounds cooler.
I'm not sure.
When I'm fishing
And
for
cats.
bass, let me
Fish for
tell you.
bass and cats. But when I'm in the boat, like I'm moving around so much, and when you're in an ice like shanty, you're not moving around so much. And
I
so my
don't
brain is
stay
just
in
like,
the ice shanty. That's why I go out and I make different holes and I'm moving around.
That's why you only have
And that's
3
why I
fingers on your
catch
left
fish.
hand from frostbite. Old 3-finger Lola. Yeah.
right.
You can't do it that way. You got to
shriveled up toes.
Yeah. But anywho, so let's bring in the dude, man. This is a feller, again, an amazing Midwest angler, and we were actually scheduled to have him on a couple weeks ago, until all of us, not Nate, but our whole family in Wisconsin got just the worst bout of COVID, and he was so gracious and like cool and like, yeah, man, I hope you guys feel better. And so here, let me run down some of this dude's stats and whatever. So he's been in, I think it's 147, 150 something professional BASS derbies, right? So like for me, that would be like a dream to fish. You know what I'm saying? Like one singular.
Yeah.
He's been on 150. He's coming up on $1 million in winnings from BAS, which is, gosh, that's insane. 6 classic appearances. He has 1 win on BASS. 18 top 10s, including one just was it last year? I think it was last year on the Sabine, which is not really like a tournament that, no diss to the Sabine River, but most people aren't ultra stoked to fish it. It's a tough spot, a tough derby. So the top 10, that's like incredible. His total career weight, if you look it up, is like 4,500 pounds. Some nonsense number, whatever.
Wild.
Mine's 91. Mine's 91 pounds
Mine's
total.
14.
Well, that's 14. And maybe the number one reason we wanted to bring this feller onto our podcast specifically, and again, we're not trying to act like we're Larry King or like the number one interviewers in the world, but what we will say is that we're not just going after everybody who ever has used a rod and reel to have on the podcast. Like we really are trying to find people who fit the vibe here, kind of the fun, kind of the positive, the energy. And you won't find people who will say a bad word about this dude. You just won't. It's all positive, and it's positive like twofold. So it's positive, like he's a positive person, and when people talk about him, it's always positive. It's always like a uplifting thing. So let's bring him in right now. The man from the Michigan Mitten, C.Pip. We are so stoked to have this man, ladies and gentlemen, Chad Pipkens.
Thanks for having me. Dude,
thank you.
Talk gets me fired up because ice fishing is not what we do day to day. It's
no, dude.
Have a beer, have a drink or whatever, but what we do, Lola, is what you're talking about. run and gun, whole hop, get out there.
Oh yeah.
Are you an ice guy, Chad? Do you enjoy ice? I mean, you're Midwest, I guess, but like.
I say that I don't get to do it a lot, but I enjoy
Yeah.
getting out there, being home. Like when we're home, I like to tailgate, meet friends, and ice fishing is kind of like that whole deal. So we get out, we do set up the tent to warm because I got terrible fingers for keeping warm.
I do too. I have like the world's worst
Yeah, it's just
circulation.
terrible circulation.
It's awful.
White and all sorts. It's not good. But then you go back to the shanty, grab a drink, and get back out when you need to find fish. So
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Oh, I love it.
I can do
And thank you for the intro too. You guys made it sound like it sounded good, dude. It sounded like I caught fish last year, even though I'm fresh off the worst season I've had in a while. But dude, it sounded.
It was last year though, right? That you top 10 the Sabine.
I did. I led that tournament the first day, and I did. That was the top 10 I had, but we were up here that derby, and then we did some sliding the rest of the year. But
that's fishing, homie. But I mean, the Sabine though, like if you can top 10 the Sabine, that's like, people will say. I was talking to a guy about this at work today. There's like that age-old like hunting adage: if you can kill an old doe, especially bow hunting, you can kill anything. You know what I'm saying? Because they're so smart, they're so on edge, they're shifty, whatever. Like if you can top 10 the Sabine, you could probably top 10 on Mars. I mean, dude.
It worked out. I caught more weight the first day than I did in like literally, I think 3.5 tournaments there. Like I caught 14 something, and you could take 5 or 6 of my days, and they went total that. So it was a good day one, man.
Yeah, that's rad though. So like, awesome. So last night we podcasted with Austin Felix, and he was saying how like he hates Grand Lake. Well, maybe not hates Grand Lake, but he's been there like twice, and he's double zeroed every time he's been there. And I was like, but yeah, maybe this time you go there and it's a different ball game, and it's a completely, things just flip over, and I don't know. So I mean, it sounds like that's what happened to you in Sabine.
100%. You learn from it. Like the other times, I think I was like one time I'd never caught a bass in 2 days. The other time I caught one, and then a couple times I was like 60th and 80th, but. You just make mistakes. Sometimes I feel like I found too many fish and was trying to do the tide and missed the window everywhere.
Oh, sure.
Last time I did that, honestly, I had the worst practice I've ever had there. I didn't have a lot to go of. I'm like, I know some good areas. I'm just gonna get in this area and figure it out. And I went to where I got bites, and guess what? They weren't there. Just like
practice in the day were different.
Yeah, gosh, dude, always.
But the good thing is I didn't panic. I didn't have anywhere else to go. I'm like, I'll just keep rolling down here. I kind of slid up to where I didn't get a bite in practice, but where I caught them before, they were there, and I caught them pretty quick. And then I just fish relaxed the next rest of the day and caught a 6-pounder, which is like a dang 15-pounder.
Which to get 20 there,
that's a giant.
Thought it was a big drum.
That's awesome.
Right. Yeah. Nate knows about them big drum, boy. Nate stays catching drums on the miss.
I was on them good last year.
So. That's his title for sure.
Like Jordan said in the intro, like, thank you so much for like being so flexible with us and our schedule and being sick.
I understand. We tried to do Thanksgiving 2 or 3 times last week. We threw up in the car. We canceled it.
Gosh.
104 fever. So
I saw that on your social. Oh, that's awful.
So I don't know how you all do it with 6, but we're open for whatever. So.
Did you and your wife, did y'all get sick as well, or was it just the kiddos? Or
we did a little bit. She's probably stronger than me. She didn't really get it as much, but me and my kids have been hacking, and then the same thing, dry cough and all that good.
Gosh.
Right. It's the worst.
It's a new deal. You're just sick, and then you're not sick, and then you're sick again.
Yeah, dude. That's man. Okay. You're exactly right. Mm-hmm. All right. So Chad, like Lola said, like Nate said, we are so thankful to have you on our podcast. First one of 2024, which is pretty rad. I can't think of a better way to kick it off. So let me explain to you that we do things a little bit different on our podcast. So we basically break everything down into like categories, and then we hit you with the categories, and you tell us where you want to start. All right. And then we can go from there. So the categories are pretty simple. We have taco questions, this or that, which is like just rapid fire. Would this or that? And you just kind of gotta go with it. Chad specific questions, of course, because we don't want to just do generic general questions, fishing questions, and then lastly, show and tell. Where would you want to start?
Let's start with some tacos, man.
Yes, dude.
Man.
I love it when people say that.
Awesome. Absolutely. So you being a Michigan guy, do you have a favorite spot, locally where you're at, or they got good tacos up there? I assume they do.
No, dude, I'm pathetic. I am not a food connoisseur, but I will eat anything. I will eat rubber. You put tacos, seasoning, I will eat it. And the one thing I did learn after rooming with Cliff Perch the last few years is we used to just eat tacos in a burrito. We never made our own shells. It's this soup. It's this most simple thing. And I'm telling you, it like ups the taco game like 20 to 80%.
Wow.
7 times 8. Dude, it's a corn tortilla and just cook it in olive oil or grease. I mean, probably because it's just greasy, but it is so good. We just make make shells. We have tacos every tournament. We have taco night at least once or twice. Sometimes with chicken, sometimes with he does fancy stuff like pollo de asado, whatever he does. I don't even know. I just like to eat.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow, dude, that's a dope answer. Yeah.
So wait, do you cook?
Yeah. Are you
I can cook some tacos pretty simply.
Yeah. How would you make them?
Tacos. We even got those little shell things that we got for I think we got for Christmas a couple years ago, like the little triangles.
Like shell holder.
Yeah, those are so good, dude. They're so
big too. But if you turn them upside down,
you got 3. Yeah, dude. Yeah, he gets it.
Yeah.
He knows the deal.
I feel like we're on pace with this. So okay, so quick side note. So you said you roomed with Cliff Perch. Were you with him in La Crosse when that craziness went down on the back of his boat?
Dude, I was, and it was insane. Like he came back late. He was like white, like I had a story. He literally is like,
oh my gosh,
I gotta go get a beer to tell you what I have. What are you talking about? And then he's like, so I just hosed off human on my, it was a scary deal, dude.
Yeah.
And the crazier thing is how everything happens. I'm pretty positive things happen for a reason and how they happen. He was in great shape to make the classic, could zero that day. I was in the opposite. I needed a big day that day. And and that's hindsight. That's not what we're talking about, but it's really interesting how things lay out. Like the stretch he was fishing, I fished the day before. I was coming back to fish that stretch, like around there's a little swim area and stuff. And I don't know what would have happened or not, but I waved and drove by him. When that all happened, that was like within the hour after that.
Oh my gosh, I have goosebumps. Oh.
And he got stuck there, and he was on the phone with the police, the ambulance people, got that guy in his boat, tournament director, had to stay with the police, wasn't allowed to make it back in. And this is me just being like in the selfish tournament fishing bubble.
Sure.
That happens. I don't weigh in that day. I don't make the classic. And it's just work out. And that was a crazy deal for him, man. And just anytime you see something like that, man, it's wild.
Yeah, but thinking of it like how you just said, like that perspective.
Yeah, that is nice.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so if anybody doesn't know what we're referring to, we actually talked about this, Chad, on our podcast forever ago. Like one of our first episodes, we had a little episode called "Scary Moments on the Water," where we just talked about times where we've had some sketchy moments or fish in storms or stuff that just scared the fire out of you, and encouraged people to be safe and smart and whatever. And I read that whole article because to like just recap it didn't do it justice. So I literally read the entire article from Bassmaster magazine, and it sounds fake almost.
Yeah.
So if you don't know the story, go look it up or listen to that podcast. But insane. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's not a taco question. I'm sorry. But you said Cliff Perch, and I was like, I wonder if he knows about that. Yeah. Man, crazy. All right.
Man.
Let me ask you this, Chad. Do you care at all about the concept of like authentic when it comes to eating or making tacos?
Not at all. I like
that boy.
I mean, dude, I can appreciate how amazing it is.
Sure.
Where we're at with kids in life and running fishing business, fishing media, painting, rental. Like I'm all over. I don't have time to be authentic. I mean, if somebody makes an authentic taco for me, bless you.
Eat it up.
I will eat a burrito. I will eat gas station time, whatever. I'll get it.
Okay. I love that. That might be the best answer we've ever gotten to that question. Like, I don't care, but I can appreciate it. That's a good balance.
Cooks, like the way he cooks, like whatever he does, like it's legit.
Okay.
I don't have time for it usually, but I can appreciate what he does because it is way better than what I do.
Yeah, and you get to eat it, so it's like it all works out.
Teamwork.
Right.
Yeah.
Enjoy the fruits of his labors.
Yeah, you cook, I eat.
Yeah. So do you have any like pre-derby foods, anything traditional that you like to eat, pre-derby, say before day one or, something like that?
Yeah. And it's not like, it's funny because it's not like this day that it's usually, it works out because you get so busy. Tournament mode, dude, if it's light for 15 hours, I'm fishing for 15 hours.
Yeah.
So like you're going to beat me all the time, but you're never going to outwork me. That's one thing I pride myself. And if I can be on the water for 15 hours, I'm on the water. Yeah. And so the days like Monday and Tuesday, you barely have time. There's no pollo carne de asada. It's what we make. You know what I mean? So usually one day we eat something good. Typically, like it might be tacos or it might be like salmon or something that we take longer to prep with vegetables. And then like Monday and Tuesday, when it's pasta and bread, or it's pizza and salad, like the quick deal. And then Wednesday, you rig up and you fish a half day. You got a little bit more time to do tacos that day or Thursday. So kind of just works out with timeline what you're able to get done.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
Sure.
What would you say is the number one most important or essential taco topping?
I wouldn't
very serious.
This is it's cheese is the first and foremost thing on everything. But that's just too cheese is delicious.
Yeah, attaboy. I mean, we're in Wisconsin, so we don't disagree with you. Yeah, we don't disagree with you.
I don't know how people can be dairy free, but
oof, that's rough.
You got to do what you got to do. But outside of Perch and his deal, same thing. I take little tips, man. I cook the shells now in the whatever it's called, the
olive oil
and whatnot. Yeah. But he used to take just stupid refried beans. And the taco that we make is so big, you can't get everything on it and close it. So instead of doing that, we take the beans, cook them, and then you mix like a big plop of that and a plop of sour cream, stir it, and you eat it with spoonfuls as you bite. And it just makes it just
you're like
good, dude.
Yeah, double fisting it or putting it on the That's dope, dude.
Yeah, I got nice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that is really good. So are you like a queso guy or just like shredded
cheese? Yeah.
I would do both if both were there.
I'm about to say he doesn't seem too
like both,
he did say he would eat rubber in a taco. So I mean,
you put cheese on it,
it's wonderful.
That's exactly right. Yeah, smoke it. Some smoked rubber could be good in a taco. Yeah.
Oh
yeah. Now we're getting fancy with it.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So from a side of Perch, are anybody else that you've hung out with, roomed with? Can they throw down in the kitchen?
In the kid Perch is the best, man. I like he does some good work, dude. He's out west. Right. He's just laid back a lot more than I am. Like I gotta go get this done. He's just strutting along. So he's cool taking his time cooking, enjoys it, and I'll drink a beer and hang out, but I still gotta be doing something while the other stuff's going on. So he was the man. But BP and his elk dogs, those were pretty solid too. Yeah, those were simple, but they were good. Elk dogs, there's like cheese mixed in there, elk.
Okay.
Wow.
Simple.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, dude. Okay, so we talked about this before we hit record. We said we weren't going to try and get you to say anything controversial, but this might be a little edgy. At the end of the day, is a fajita, is that just a sizzling taco?
Yeah, I mean it's the same. Yeah, maybe.
Because you're putting it in a taco shell, right?
We keep on asking people like on this show, like, what's your favorite taco? And they're like, well, I just like fajitas. I'm like, isn't that just a dang taco that's going?
It just has,
I would say the only time I've had fajitas is with the vegetable. That's what makes it like more fajita-ish.
I guess.
So otherwise, it's just like, I got steak fajitas. Or if you don't have the peppers and onions, then it's just a steak taco.
Yeah,
I think that's the difference. I think you just figured it out.
All right.
I had to talk through it a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. My favorite thing too is when people tell you to be careful with like the fajita thing when they bring it out, even though it's like you can hear that it's sizzling. Like,
well, somebody touched it.
It comes out and I just put my tongue on it immediately or something. Like, be careful, it's hot. Yes, thank you. I'm aware. All right, let's do this or that. So basically, it's just like a quick response, Chad. Little to no balance. If you want to give us a reason, you can, but we're going to move through some. Some is fishy, some is not fishy, some is just stupid stuff that came out of our brains. And so just be honest and we'll roll through them.
Yeah. So first one, would you rather go bald or lose 6 inches of height?
Dude, I'm glad
you're going with that.
I know. I was like, I'm so glad you said of height.
I can't change my train of thought.
Dang it! I said we weren't going to say anything controversial, and then we
not controversial.
Well, I
guess you could have said 6 inches shorter.
Yeah, that would have been there you go.
Dang it!
I think right now I've been tall most of my life. I don't need to play sports anymore. I kind of like my hair. I got a hair sponsor, salon.
Yeah,
right.
Hair.
I'm going to talk to you about that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Back up to get like 3 or 4.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you could shorten down, kind of shrink, and then just go more like product. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Oh yeah. Perfect.
Oh my gosh. Would you rather lose your sense of smell or taste?
I would say smell, because I feel like when I'm smelling stuff, it's by accident. When you're tasting stuff, like you mean to do that.
It's on purpose.
That was good.
That
was deep, dude. Okay. Yeah. All right, on long road trips, this or that, podcast or music?
Music.
Okay.
They're really fun, but like, dude, I just talked. Dude, great to catch up with people. I will spend a 20-hour drive, 16 hours on the phone.
Wow. I like that. That's dope.
So wait, awesome. What music are you playing? Like, are you on a shuffle?
Did they say you graduated in 82, Jordan?
Not really, but
yeah.
Okay.
But like, are you 40? You don't seem like you're that old.
I'm 42.
Okay, I'm 40.
That's
so
true.
You're like, maybe it's just us being about 90s music. Doesn't matter if it's like boy band, your old teeny boppers, or old school rap or alternative. It's just better. So
dude, late 90s hip hop is the absolute best music that was ever put out. Like, period. I don't want to have a conversation about it. Like, late 90s hip hop cannot be touched.
Yeah, that's what we listen to.
I would agree. I mean, Nate and I are 34.
Yeah,
and
they're significantly
we're little
younger.
babies. But I love 90s and early 2000s. I mean,
early 2000s, like 50 Cent.
Like 50 Cent. Come on.
Right. We'll be in the club for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. But all that
Candy shop.
The 90s is just it's good. XM Fly, you can't beat that.
Oh, all right.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah. So would you rather have 11 fingers or 14 toes? Or 14 toes?
I could use an extra finger for sure.
Okay. All right. I mean, you're the painting business. You might be able to like speed up or balance better.
You could be texting over here, like cutting in over
here. These are so dumb. I'm sorry.
Chick flick or action movie?
Dude, I like action a lot, but I'm okay with the chick flick. I think it was. You can ask my wife this. She literally. I'm glad you like chick flicks. I don't like them, but I tolerate them.
Okay.
Warm heart and a smile and laugh.
Yeah. There you go.
Sweet.
That is.
I love chick flicks. I mean, I'm a chick, but.
Small mouth or large mouth?
Small mouth, but
attaboy.
They create problems. That's why I got the dang the elbow we're dealing with, and that's why 4 of our guys have that going on.
Wow. Small that is crazy.
Tendon hospital doctor.
Yep. Do you ever use that thingy like on your forearm?
Yeah, I had it when I messed it up, and it was on, and it was just the over abuse of through New York. And the last day, like snapped a jerk bait around, it got bad. I was taking some ibuprofen, woke up the next morning, went to grab my phone, and just like I could not pick it up.
Yep.
Did therapy for a month, did some other stuff, and like tried a lot of stuff. Tried to wait a month, and then it just wasn't getting right. So I did the PRP shot a little over 4 weeks ago now, and I'm hoping that's the deal. Everybody I've talked to, it has been. I hope I'm no different than them, but I'll find out. I feel like the magic from 6 to 8 weeks, they say. So
wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I had something similar, like tennis elbow for a while, and I couldn't figure out what to do. I tried that little wrappy thing, which sort of helped. And this maybe you probably already tried this too, but there's a really dope little it's a temporary solution, but it feels crazy good. Have you seen those things? It's like a massagey thing, but it's called a polar roller. Have you ever seen that?
Oh yeah.
It's like that ball that you freeze the metal, and then that thing that was like the only thing like on the top of my arm that would make my hand sort of like chill out and like I could re-grip something.
I got lots of good stuff for once I get it healed, like the muscle scraper and the tools and that stuff, but I just need to get it back. Then we can you got kids, you don't have time to work out, they're crying, you're picking them up, setting the hook on smallmouth, and then all of a sudden you're 40 and nothing works. And that's literally what happened this year.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing because I completely understand. Like I'm really big into snowboarding, and I went with a couple homies last year for the first time in a while, like to actual like resorts or whatever. And back in the day, dude, we'd snowboard till 3 o'clock in the morning, and we'd go to the streets and like do actual handrails, and I would just break myself off, and the next morning I'd roll out of bed and we go do it again. And now I go snowboard for
with our kids.
Yeah, I go snowboard with our kids, or I'll snowboard for like 4 hours. The next day I get up and you swore I just was like on the front lines of like a war. Like I'm like, oh, my back, my knees, my elbows. Like, dude, I feel
it's even worse. At least you know you did something. I get up now and I'm like, if I don't do something, I get up and I literally just hurt. And I'm like,
why am I sore?
My knee cracks when I walk, so it's fine.
Not good.
Fun times.
Agreed.
So power or finesse? Fishing.
Finesse, man. That's how I made most of my dollars.
That's what I figured you'd say. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I hate flipping. When I started fishing, my rule was keep the flipping. I never have a flipping stick on the deck unless I'm sight fishing. Pretty much, and it's pretty much true.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just said it's pathetic, but it is true. So.
It's not pathetic. Yeah, it's what works.
Shallow or deep?
Deep.
Okay. Yeah. What's mine? Coffee or energy drink?
Dude, I hate coffee.
Okay. Yeah.
Energy drink, but I drink these little V8 fusion things. They got like
those are good.
They're 10 grams of sugar. I like those.
Okay.
Solid.
So paint the exterior of your house or the interior?
Ooh, we make more money painting outside of stuff because we have sprayers, ladders. Inside's just sweetness and trim, and it's time consuming. So I'm gonna go with the outside if I'm doing it, like getting a suntan, relaxing a little bit, hanging out.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I would choose exterior.
Yeah.
Corn or flour tortillas?
Because of my friend Perch, we're going to go with the corn ones.
Yeah, I like to keep going back to Cliff Perch. Also, what a freaking fantastic fishing name.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, that's just perfect. Okay, old school here. Underspin or push button?
Underspin. Wow.
You remember those? You know,
underspin?
Underspin's like the push button where it's upside down like a spinning rod, but it looks like a push button reel, but it's like a little like lever that comes out on top.
Got the trigger up top.
Yeah, the trigger up top, or old school push button.
I like the old Zepco 33 Classic as well.
Yeah. I have one up there. I don't know if you can see it. I have one in the wood up there. Yeah.
Solid.
So Lions or any other sports team?
It's the year, man. We're going to Super Bowl. I was at the game Saturday. Awesome.
Oh, were you really?
At the game in Green Bay when we smoked the Packers. Awesome. I've been a fan forever. My wife's husband, which is me. My wife's dad. But yeah, that's pretty funny. I love the Lions. I've always been a Lion fan.
Okay. Yeah.
And now I have a reason.
You didn't go to the game on Thanksgiving though, right?
I did not.
Oh, you should have. I like that one. Did you see, Chad? Did you see that? I think it's on Amazon. I'm pretty sure that Barry Sanders documentary. Did you watch that?
I haven't, and I need to because I know of it. I just haven't watched.
Yeah, it's really dope. It's like his whole kind of like it's super easy to watch. It's really well put together. Like they have all these like super big name people who are Lions fans talking. Like Eminem does like some like interview stuff on it, and it's basically like Barry Sanders' career, and then him just being like and just disappearing, and like why and how. And they talk to Barry Sanders the whole. It's really dope. You should. I'm not a Lions fan.
Young, and I just remember he's like the best, and I'm done.
Yeah. And then he was out of there. Yeah. He was I mean, it's funny because like, I don't know if you ever see like on news shows or whatever, like when they, I don't know if they're talking, I don't know, making something up now. If they're talking about like a flood or something, and while they're talking, they keep on using the same clip in the background of like a certain flood water, and you can tell it's the same clip over and over again. So in this documentary of Barry Sanders, there's all these clips of him like spinning around and breaking people's ankles and juking left and shooting right, but they never use the same clip twice because he did it so much.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he had so much footage of him just embarrassing grown men that there's never like a repeat clip, dude. It's so
good. You have no offensive line when you play either. He gives you opportunities to embarrass.
Yeah, he had to dance.
He was the original human highlight reel for sure.
He really was a freak. He was incredible, and he's so, like the way that he speaks in this whole. You got to watch it. It's so rad. He's so humble.
I will. I like it.
Yeah. Jared Goff or Matthew Stafford?
Man, Goff because of the results, but Stafford, I was pumped when he won a Super Bowl because I felt like he had a lot of grit, tried hard, just didn't work out. It wasn't the right dynamics, maybe,
Yeah, for sure. That's a good answer. Super nice garage or super nice house?
Garage. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What would you say?
Oh, I'd say garage all day.
Nate, would you say garage?
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I probably
Me
would.
too. Just kidding.
Yeah.
One of those like really nice like barn dominium house garage combo deals would be that. That'd be that. Yeah.
We don't
Carl's.
So dope. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Garage.
Yeah.
Right. So jerk bait, blade bait, or football jig?
Jerk bait all day long. Part of the problem with the arm, but jerk bait.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Time machine or a teleport machine?
I'm a big teleport. I used to talk about that. I joked about if I only had, dude, I could do so many things so more efficiently.
I like that, dude. So really quick story. When I used to live in Atlanta, Georgia, I worked at this really rad place. Shout out Safe House in downtown Atlanta. It was a really rad. It wasn't like a homeless shelter, but essentially, if you were homeless, and when I lived there, this was forever ago, but when I lived there was 35,000 homeless people within Atlanta city limits. It's crazy. And if you wanted to be not homeless, we would do whatever it took to get you a job, get you an apartment, get you clothes, get you cleaned up. Like my homie Berto was a barber. He'd get people's hair cut, all this stuff. And there's this one specific homeless dude who, whenever you talk to him, he's an old white dude. He was really articulate, like really smart, spoke really well.
Oh, I know what story this is. Okay.
After just like you could talk to him and be like, hey, Mike, how things been going? Like, oh, they've been fine. And you have a normal conversation. And then somewhere within that conversation, he would stop and he'd go, hey, I'm sorry, but I can astral project. And I'd be like, what? And he'd always apologize every time. And we'd have the same, he would never remember it was me and like whatever. And I'd talk to him 500 times. I'm sorry, I can ask for project. I'm like, what do you mean? He'd be like, I can go anywhere and come right back. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, watch. You see that? I went to Florida. I'm like, really? Oh, that's dope, dude. How was it? He's like, it was hot. I'm like, do it again. He's like, where you want me to go? I'm like, I don't know, Egypt. Pyramids were cool or whatever. Like, so he actually thought he was a teleport machine. So yeah, he was cool.
There you go.
Yeah, if you could do that, man, you'd be much more efficient. That's accurate. All right, last one, this or that. AOY or a classic?
Oh,
that's a good one.
I'd still say AOY because you got to be. That's my nemesis with elites right now. It's 9 events in a row.
Yeah,
like it's hard to string 9 together.
Yeah,
you do that, and yep. Sign me up
for sure. Yeah, that's what Jay Yellis said. The classic is amazing because of like the whole vibe, you know, and like the craziness and the press and the arena. But the AOY is like amongst anglers, like that's it.
Yeah,
like that's the deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Are we gonna do Chad specific?
Yeah,
questions?
let's go. We've got it on the sheet. Let's just roll through it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us, who are you? Tell us about your family. Tell us about you.
That's a loaded question.
Oh boy. Okay, good. Bring it on.
I am a hardworking dude that likes to have a lot of fun. I like to talk. I like a cocktail now and again with good, friendly people.
Yeah.
And I grew up playing piles of sports, hockey, football team, tennis stuff, soccer. And I love to fish, love to be outside, love to gamble. And I was had a little money roll of $21 bills. And I had to money from playing like little poker games. My family thought it was the coolest thing ever.
That's dope.
Oh my
now
gosh.
I get to professionally fish for a living, which is literally like everything that I liked as a childhood, like thrown into a bucket. You've got gambling, you've got speed, you've got competitiveness, and you've got the decision-making stuff outdoors. Like that's what I get to do day to day. So I'm super fortunate and blessed with that. Got a wife, 2 crazy ass kids that are phenomenal. One will be 4 in January. One is like 15 months.
Yeah.
And they don't like to sleep, man. So, I mean, I don't know if they get that from me. My mom told me as a baby, I slept a bunch. I think I was stocking up for later. Like now, I don't sleep, but
you got to pull from those reserves.
They put us to the work and it's amazing, but it's, me and my wife, it's tough sometimes, but we were out to dinner earlier. We 4 to 6:30, got to hang out, had some steak tonight and come back and put the kids to almost bed. So
wow, that sounds nice.
That sounds nice.
Yeah,
it's cool. It was funny talking to Chad today because we were scheduled originally to be at 8 o'clock, and then I texted him. I'm like, hey man, is there any way you could push it back 8:15, 8:30? Like our youngest is having a hard time going to bed, and he's like, oh yeah, man, I got 2 kids, they don't sleep or something like that. It was just real. And I was like, okay, he gets it. Yeah.
It's crazy. Like other kids, oh yeah, our kids, we got to wake them up at 3 hours after the nap. My daughter never took more than like literally a 25 to 35 minute nap besides
oh my gosh.
And when my wife hears somebody say like, oh, they sleep for 3 hours and we got to wake them up, she wants to kick them.
Like,
yeah, she's like, F you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said you fished when you were little and whatever, but let me ask you, how did you start in fishing? And then how did you transition from fishing into like tournaments? And this is kind of loaded, kind of long. How'd you start fishing? How'd you fish tournaments? How did you go from tournaments to like a light bulb moment of like, dude, I could do this professionally?
For sure, man. It's easy favorite answer. I grew up on Higgins Lake with my parents, catching perch, rock bass, like anything that bit, loved fishing. Yeah. Started like bass fishing when I had some friends with a couple ponds. Used to throw the backpack on, put 2 rods across the handlebars, and I'd and just catch mostly whatever bit, but bass are the fish that bit lures, you know.
Yeah.
So like those a bunch. And then a friend of mine's dad, Dennis Stabbin, I took my first bass fishing tournament when I was 16 on a little local lake here, Lake Lansing. We caught 1 keeper bass that weighed 15 ounces, and like I loved it. I loved the boat.
Cool.
It was phenomenal. And then I fished another team tournament with him that year. We caught a few fish. But then my senior year of high school is when I started fishing tournaments with a buddy of mine. We fished. They didn't have college fishing or high school fishing.
No.
That's what I was going to ask. Okay.
Yeah.
We just got to fish against old men. And that's literally what it was.
Yeah. Yep.
But it was a blast. We won Angle of the Year a couple times and took some of their money and fished like the little pot weekend tournaments. At that point, it's funny because like I saw old high school hockey yearbook in 10th grade. What do you want to do? And mine was I want to be a professional fisherman in 10th grade.
Oh my god!
Which is really, I mean, how many kids or people get to grow up and do exactly what they want?
What they said, yeah. No, it
makes me feel all teary.
Yeah.
No, I'll keep it together. But it's like I said, every day, like some days are hard. You know, people complain, especially with all the fishing stuff going on out industry wide, like sponsors and this and that. But in the end of the day, you are doing what you choose to do. Go do something else. You know what I mean? Like you're forced to do this. So I love every minute of it. And I work my ass off to stay there. That's why I like starting the fishing deal. I went to college and I had fun, majored in math. I hate reading and numbers are easy. And I like numbers. So that's why I did math.
Sounds like Mom and Vinny.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, there's an answer. That's why I like that,
Yeah.
But then just the whole thrill of catching fish, like I knew I wanted to fish more, but I didn't know what I was going to do. So at the time I was seeing somebody from North Carolina. I'm like, well, I'm going to just move down to North Carolina and I'll take a teaching job down there and just kind of figure it out a little bit. And then I literally met like kind of my mentor, another good fishing name. His name is literally Shad.
What?
Shad Shank or Skank, however you want to pronounce it. And I met him through a mutual contact, like on a Lake Erie FLW tournament. And that was when you could get info from co-anglers.
Oh, sure.
I met this guy, fished him out there. He didn't even know what a drop shot was. And I got kind of like, just good vibes with the dude, had fun. And it was the second or third day. And I talked to my buddies who I grew up fishing around here. We share a lot of stuff, work together, and, try to break down Lake Erie, Lake St. Clair. And I told him, like, hey, this guy's a good dude. And I think, he could help us down the road. And you care if I share some stuff with him, and they're like, use your best judgment. Yeah, whatever you need to do. And I kind of showed him what I knew, and everything was like legit for him. And it was just happening. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's great. And it was phenomenal. Like he should have won or could have won. But
that's awesome.
He ended up winning. He needed to finish like 30th to make the Forest Wood Cup. He finished like third or fourth, made $40,000 in the tournament, made the cup. And the coolest thing about it, it wasn't like I just helped him and he wanted to help me down the road. Like we just get along, dude. I want to say he's probably 6. I'm 40. He's probably 46 or 7. Neither of us had kids at the time, but we just get along, had a freaking blast.
That's awesome.
And the next year he's like, man, you want to travel with me? I can show you the ropes and I'll help pay for expenses.
Wow.
And you can work, you got to build your business. And that's what I learned from that guy is like, it's fishing, but it's a balance between fishing and work. Because you got to have the time to fish, but you got to have the money to fish, Yep. And that's what the guy sold corn seed for a living, made probably 6 feet. They did really well, but just hustled. And I fished with him. I called my principal back in North Carolina that I took a teaching job with, kind of told him the deal. And he's like, man, you chase your dreams. If you need a teaching job, we will always be here for you. And
wow.
That was I fished full time for 11 years. That was 16 years ago, 17 years ago. But I started my paint company then, reffed hockey nights and weekends, just hustled. And then the 5th year that I was going to travel with him full time, like he even paid for some entry fees and stuff. It came to the point where I was ready to fish the FLW tour. I knew I wanted to do this for a living. I needed to take the step, because you don't sort of make money in the opens and that kind of deal. And so that 5th year, I'm going to pick a couple events and I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to work at home nights, weekends. Cause I was working, 60 to 90 hours a week. I'd rep every weekend, Friday night, Saturday night. Don't get me wrong. I would still play when I was off the ice at midnight. I would meet my buddies at the bar and then I'd be up the next day at 9 after we bed at 2:30, be back on the ice. Like we had fun, but we just hustled.
Yeah.
He always told me, he's like, dude, it's not if it's going to happen, it's when. And it's wild because the 5th year, I almost won the second to last, or I fished 2 events with him. I almost won the first one, finished like 6th. And then the last event, a tour event at Beaver Lake, I won as a co-angler. And I won like $25,000. I'm like,
wow,
dude, this is my entry fee, 6 tournaments at $4,000 a piece. This is my entry fees for next year. I didn't even think about fishing the Elite Series yet. Like it was a pipe dream, but just I wanted to fish full time. In that same year, they had a tour open on Lake Erie. I'm like, I like to gamble. I know how to play cards. You put your money in when you have the best odds. Like home lake, it was an open, $4,000. I got to ref a lot of hockey games to make $4,000. I put my $4,000 in and I went and fished it as a pro. I finished 3rd and won like another $28,000.
Jeez.
And so like I had saved what I needed for like my first year's expense. And that same year, dude, I won the Angler of the Year in the Opens and got my invite to the Elite Series. So I'm like,
that's so
let's
sick.
go. So I prepaid my whole next year, dude. I said, I didn't have this money before. Here's my $40,000 in entry fees. They give you a $3,000 discount. Just pass the money along and said, I'm fishing the Elite Series. I don't have any sponsors right now yet, but hey, let's send it and we'll go from there. And it's funny. It's like full circle because the connections I made those 5 years working and stuff, like my title sponsor, is Douglas J. Salon. It's a salon and spa school. They got Michigan. They're in Knoxville, Tennessee, Chicago, Illinois. And like I met that guy through busting my ass on the ice. He was a student at the time. So like I was always putting him in the box, but it's just one of those like he knew how hard I was working. I love to play hockey, and like he had an idea. Like he's very creative with marketing, and we got to know each other some more. And the year all this connected for me, he's like, again, I think we were drinking at the time. He's like, man, we gotta get you some decals, hook you up with some highlights, and pay for some entry fees or something. And that same year, all this stuff happened together.
Wow!
And we
fell into place.
I've worked with him for 12 years now. I mean, it's absolutely wild how it came to place. And the crazier thing is, my second year, I almost won at Lake Norman. I lost a fish on the final day. I weighed 4 fish, and I lost by like 4 or 5 ounces. I lost to BP, and that's how BP funded his first year too. So it's like,
wow,
it's so wild, all the weird stuff. That's why I like it.
Yeah, that is absolutely nuts.
The more this feller talks, the more I like him. You're a really rad combination, Chad, you're a really dope combination of passionate and articulate, which is a really good combo. Yeah, I like this. This is fun. This is fun, dude.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Now you gotta get me to shut up though. So.
No, please don't. No.
Yeah, that's the last thing we want, actually.
Yeah, we don't want that. Yeah, heck no.
We'll see what my wife has to go to bed at like 11:45.
You're right.
So if Bass decided to change everything up, everything's team derbies now, who are you picking first and foremost? You're gonna fish team BP. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Not even because he's good, because he's won angler year. Just a guy traveled with him for 4 years.
It's because he picked you on our podcast when he was on here, right?
We asked him the same thing, and he said you like quick.
Actually, I didn't know that. Which is hilarious. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's pretty dope, dude.
A phone hug tomorrow.
It's funny. He said it quick too.
It literally, like the bass fishing scene is like, when you get into preschool or kindergarten, like you got to figure out where you belong on the playground.
Yeah.
You like meet some kind of friends here, but then you go to middle school and you got some new friends. Like people come in each year, and like there's little relationships that change throughout the year. And it's like you get along with a lot of people, and there's certain people you just connect with and vibe with, like you said. And it's just we just have a good time together. We get each other on and off the water, and you don't find a ton of people like that in life that you're just like, I like to be around you, whether we're on the water, we're in the bar, whether we're working out, running. It doesn't matter. It's fun.
It's easy. It's fun. It's consistent. Yeah.
For sure. Easy to be friends with them. Yeah. Chad, let me ask you this, man. Is there anybody? So Lola is a hairstylist, used to work at the super dope Aveda salon, cuts my hair, cuts our kids' hair, like she's really, really talented. You may have the best hair in the elite series. Does anybody contest you, or are you just kind of king dog when it comes to hair? Like you don't even wear a hat most of the time.
I appreciate it, and I don't wear a hat. I never wear a hat on stage. I wear one when I fish just to keep the skin cancer vibes away, Yeah. But on stage, I try to be me. And it's that was one thing we agreed on. My sponsor dude, when we like, I won't wear a hat on stage or anything. And he's like, perfect. I had to talk to him when I first started with them about that. But it's just everybody in the industry has a different deal, and you got to do you. That's the only way to make it work, and that's just part of what I like to do. And I feel like now, like with all the young people in there, I am no longer a rookie or anywhere near that. There's some dudes with some pretty fly hair. So I mean, they come in. I don't have to work hard at it because I got a good haircut, but there's some people that look pretty cool.
Yeah. Has your hair always been important to you?
It kind of has grown up.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, you ain't got to say like you're
like
shallow
or anything.
That's not a bad deal. How long did it take you to do your hair? I'm like, well, it probably took. I can do it like this, and
look at that,
and we're done.
Boom.
Hey Nate, should we show him how we do?
Oh my gosh, don't.
I was gonna say, I think I'm the only one who can beat him in speed.
There
Oh,
it is. And he's set. And he's set.
Yeah.
So we won't ask you for your salon sponsor's number or something, since we ain't got no hair. I mean, Lola's looking good, but
we'll get you hooked up with whatever you need. They got a barber shop now too, barber school. We'll get you dialed up.
Yeah, we can clean.
I can't grow a beard. I grow a beard like a third grader. So
yeah, same.
Sorry, I didn't mean to point at you so quickly.
Jeez Louise. I got an okay mustache, and that's where it ends.
Oh, your stash is nice.
Yeah, it's not the best ever, but whatever, dude.
Nice.
Yeah, that's funny. So tell us a little bit about like the rod deal, your rod sponsor and all that.
Same, dude, it's the same thing. Like with BP hanging out at ICAST. The biggest recommendation I have in the industry, if you're trying to get into it, it's not all about fishing. It's about relationships and building that and being out there. Like people want, whether you're quiet or not, like people want, to work with people who like to be around other people or work with other people, because that's what moves the needle or sells product. Not everybody is, that has that personality that they want, but there's a way to make it happen. And it's just funny because a lot of the deals I have are people I met, earlier in my life, and then things just develop into that, and it was one of those, it was ICAST, and me and BP were at the bar drinking after the Costa party one night. And there's a couple, two fanboys, Sam and they'll really like that I call them fanboys. Yeah, it was Sam and Calvin, and we met them at a bar, and it was because they wanted to come up. They had their Liquid Courage going. And they wanted to talk to BP because they're from kind of like the hometown, and they didn't know him at the time. Right. But now, Brandon, when he was catching big trout out there, he's fishing with Calvin. Like they hang out and they fish out there. But at the time, they wanted to talk to Brandon, and I was there too, and just we kind of all just same thing, got along. These dudes are just like we are, and they're fun to be around. Why would you not work with people that you can be around with and make an excuse to go work, make money for them, make money for you and your family, and have a great time doing it? It makes perfect sense. So we got to talk. And, like I was in a place where I was ready to look for a new rod deal, and they brought it up, and I'm like, I'm all ears, man. And we just kind of had a smaller deal for a couple of years, and then got a little bigger the last few years, and got to develop my own line of rods, which is a blast. And now I've got
that's exciting.
Use stuff with my name on it that I like, and I, get paid a little bit. And now I got no excuse if I can't catch fish. It's my own fault. I just need the wrong kind of stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Tell us about it's pronounced Swait, right? Or how do you?
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The logo's dope. I always saw it on your jersey, and I see it on your boat and whatever. And when you agreed to be on our podcast, I'm like, dude, what is that? Like, I honestly, I didn't know. And which maybe that's part of like the marketing, the curiosity of it. So I looked it up. The website is super rad. Like the Swait website, it moves cool. It looks cool. It's really easy to navigate. But
it's perfect for it's what they want to make fishing cool. They've got 3 tiers. I can't even remember what they are. Like the young gun, and the other, there's like 3 levels depending on your age, and it's just still having that same feel. And like they want the same. Fishing is dope. It's that skater vibe. Like I never was a skateboarder, but I like the idea of like fishing is cool. It's not like what it was. And I love the old school fishing stuff,
it
is evolved, and it is a sport, and that's why there's so much competition. That's why like there's nobody there's no weak link anymore. Like everybody is so good, and everybody is out there to get your job, but it's because fishing is cool. It's because of high school fishing and college fishing. Before when I fished in high school, it wasn't a team. It was just, these 3 guys are kind of cool. I don't know why they like to fish, but they're cool. It's kind of weird,
Yeah. Are you rod and reel with Swait then?
I'm just rod full, but I use most all the reels. I was at Abu Garcia for a while. I'm kind of phased out of that. I still use a couple of their reels as well, but Swait's got a sweet Brigade X spinning reel that I use. That's pretty much all my spinning reels. And we're working on a new bait caster that I'll be full rod reel. And it just takes time. You want to build something right. They know my needs. I got to have the best stuff out there. All I use is their rods, and I use a mix of reels for bait caster wise until their other one's fully ready. Like you're trying to cast a weightless fluke on a reel that's not perfectly balanced yet.
Sure.
It's tough. You can do 90% of your other job with it, but for that, you got to use the right stuff.
Yeah. And with you being a finesse guy, the rod is so important for casting, and then also for fighting the fish, finding that delicate balance of like enough parabolic bend, but not a noodle, so you can actually get them out. And so that's rad. That's cool. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of like teeing off on this because I love design stuff personally. And the Swait stuff just looks different, be it the colors or the design of like the grips, the split, the whatever. How much goes into on that end? Obviously, like the actions and the strengths and the lengths and all that is important, but how much do you put in on the actual just look of a rod when you're designing one?
Yeah, and the neat thing is a lot of those concepts, like their grip handle, that kind of deal, and then like the cork on the back of the cranky rod, which I really like. It's just old school, kind of unique. Like they already have it. Like that's just them, which is perfect. And like their black label rod, it was a great rod, and it was nice. We stepped up like the blank with my rod, and then the look of it, I wanted something a little bit different. I didn't want like a full red or a full white rod, but I wanted a little bit of I don't even know what you want to call it, like, but just that that bottom. I think it's like 2 feet on my rod. Then the guide's a red guide, but then it's like the metallic gray. It's just something that sharp I didn't think was out there. Now, since then, I've seen, a handful of other rods that are just the bottom side is that color. But I think the appearance thing was more what I got to decide, as well as obviously the action, the blank itself, that was fully me. But a lot of the cool things, like they had good ideas. It wasn't like, hey, build us a rod, because I'm not a rod guy. I know what I like. I know what catches fish and what gets the job done. But they knew a lot more about the components than I did. So they showed me some stuff, and I was like, dude, this is sick. Let's roll with this. Like some of the guides and stuff. And we've got some new stuff on another rod that I'll be coming out here with soon, to another, just a unique kind of guy that I'm excited about, that you don't see a lot out there. So.
Rad, dude. That's so cool.
Yeah, I love that. Really cool.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to monopolize and ask a million questions there. That just super interests me.
Yeah. I just want to know how cool is it to have your name on a product like that? Like that. I just feel like that's like the pinnacle. Like, you fish, you do your career, you do this whole thing, and then like to get your name on product that you can sell to the masses, like that just seems like the absolute pinnacle.
It is, man, because like I said, I've worked real hard for where I've at and where I've got to and become, but and a lot of it's like not necessarily fishing work or fishing money, because initially, like, it's hard to get deals, it's hard to do that. Like, you got to hustle to make it happen, and it's neat now. Like, it took a while, but to have that happen, you do look down. It's like it's a childhood dream. Like, you're fishing,
exactly.
You've got your rod with your name on it. I just started with Perfection last year, and I've been trying to design some baits for a couple of years, and I got with them last year, and I've got a bait that's going to be in Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's. So it should be out now, but it'll probably be in January. But like, I just developed a drop shot bait. That's pretty neat. It's got my name on a pack.
That's so exciting.
It was just fun to be on that side of the game. Like, what you like to use, but it's nice to like take pieces of other products and like, hey, let's tweak this. Let's do that. This is what I want to use this because I made this, it's pretty neat.
Yeah. So you are a mover and a shaker and on the go, and you're a hard worker. What's next? Like, are you like, what's, I don't know, 5 years?
Hopefully
what's your goal?
Win.
Huh?
I said, hopefully a damn win.
Yes. Like, is that the dream? Is that the
hopefully a few,
next thing?
Yeah. No, it is. Like, I feel like I'm good enough to win, but so many things have to come into place. But even more important than to win, because you got to get a little bit lucky to win, and things have to go right, which I do think will happen. But for me, it's just it's having a competitive year. Like, it's funny, you fish full time. I had a rough year this year, but before that, I made 4 classics in a row. And like in the middle of that, I'll still have people come up, hey, do you fish anymore? Which is not anything on me or on them. It's like, it is hard to be noticed in this sport sometimes, unless you're really following the sport. Like, there's super fans out there. It's a huge following, but some people just watch the show. Well, dude, you don't always make the show. So you could literally finish 25th in every tournament, never make the show, make every classic. And
that's true.
Be close to winning the Angle of the Year, but people don't even know you fish. So for me, I just feel like what I've missed, I've won a couple Angle of the Years in the Opens. I've had like a 3rd AOI, a 4th, a 7th. Like, I've strung 3 events very often together for that, but I've yet to string 9 together in the Elite Series. It's always been a couple that get me. And like, I want to be relevant in that AOI conversation, whether it's top 5 or top 10, the last 2 or 3 tournaments. I've had it once where I was in like 6th midway. And then for whatever reason, I had 3 terrible events. Usually I end strong, but that was a year I had a bad middle. So like, my goal is to be in position to be talked about, like, for that AOI, you know what I mean? Like, to be in the hunt, make decisions, and have it come together. And I think it's going to come together, because I felt like this year I caught every bad break you could catch.
Sure, you got them out.
3, well, at least 2, but maybe 3 years of bad tournaments out of the way. So now we're going to string a couple together, win some AOIs.
Yeah, do it.
Eat some more tacos.
There it is.
That's it.
Yeah. Do it.
So that'll help with the win.
Yeah,
Get them tacos.
Yeah.
I like it.
Any chance we can get some specifics on the 2024 rig that I don't know if you've got your new boat yet or not, but what you will be running, how it's set up, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I got the 24, and oddly enough, I got the 23 still too, which isn't a great thing. It's set up. It was sold to a good buddy of mine that I would do the same thing in a heartbeat. Guy I grew up fishing with, working hard on Lake Erie with. He teaches now. He actually fished the Elite Series in 2011. He teaches full time now, and he needed to sell his boat, and he just listed his too late. And then like the market went dead. I had 3 people offer me top dollar for that one, and then after the fact, I went back and I kind of missed the window. Now it's been tough. You've seen a lot of guys boats for sale. One, two, interest rates are high. Like, things will be fine in January, February, and get some good money. But it's just not good having two boats right now. But it's nice to be able to be in position, like to still, hard work, trying to make stuff happen. Because before I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd be like, $5,000, $3,000, sold. Now, I don't need to lose my butt on anything like that. I can wait a little bit, and so that's good. But it's the same, man. The Bass Cat, the Puma STS, the new one, it's probably like 6, 7, 8 inch wider than the old one. It's the deal. It's a good boat. Same Suzuki I've had. I ran 7 Suzukis now, but that metallic, that black on black,
dude, that gloss. I was we were just talking about that in the house. That gloss black on the flat black cowling. I mean, dude, that is so dang sexy. I can't believe
it. I was waiting for you to finish your words, and I was like, I was waiting to say sexy. I'm like, not everything is sexy, but
that is though.
I was biting through my
and
lip.
even the shape of the cowling, because it's not super bulky. It's real smooth looking the way it kind of comes back and stays narrow, but it's got those two kind of like I don't know if they're exhaust or whatever they are on the top. Like it looks so good. It looks
it does. I mean, it's a mile an hour, mile and a half an hour slower, but it turns every time it needs to turn. It's phenomenal. It's powerful. My boat I still ran 72.8 with this year with that 70 loaded.
It's very fast.
Now you're moving.
Fishing is like you put 5 pounds on the front of the boat, you lose a mile an hour. Well, we've got 3 graphs on the front of the boat.
Right.
You know what I mean, like with all the technology and stuff. So you need a boat that runs around 70, and it handles, and that's the deal for me. I run all the Humminbirds up front with live and 360. We got a lot of stuff in the boats. I pack too much tackle. So I got to have backup plans for if power goes out, whatever. I got some tools. I'm not a tool guy, but I got duct tape, a hammer, all the good stuff you need.
Duct tape and hammer is all you need.
That's all you need. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So tell me about Suzuki, because I feel like right now it seems like a really rad time. Because who else fishes it? Like Brandon Card's on Suzuki, isn't he?
Card, Perch, Dean Rojas, Gerald
Rojas,
Adrian Avina.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Greg DePalma's got one this year.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Who else? Yeah, there's a
but I feel like you're at a good time with it, because it seems like they're kind of scooping up right now. Because obviously Suzuki is a huge company. It's not some like upstart company, but like it seems as though like they're really starting to get that spot on bass fishing. Like, how did you get in with them for so long? And
just again, it take time and a place, man. I just developing relationships that you don't know where you're going to be when. There's people in the industry you meet that you may work with forever, that you may work, they're placeholders that you just got to determine like who you can grow with and who's there to get what they can out of you, and
sure, that's good.
I just felt like, I worked with some other boat motor, and I love the engine, love the boat, and the people were great, but I just like, tell me what to do to get to that next level, and I'll see if I can do it. Like, I understand every company out there has a dollar, like they need a return on investment. So if there's something that I'm not doing for you, let me know. And if I can't do it, I get it. But if you tell me, hey, you got to go to Classic. Hey, you need to do this. That's how you get the next discount off, the next water, the paint, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
For a couple of years, I think, and I won an Open in 14. I fished 2 Classics in a row, and I'm like, guys, I'm doing what you told me to do to get the next thing, and I'm not moving anywhere. I'm not going to sit here and be 7 years down the road, and like I'm ready to make a change. And if you can't do that, like, no hard feelings. I get it. Like, you're a business. I'm a business. I'm trying to feed my family. You're trying to do the same for you. Well, let's just be honest. Let's have you can have a normal conversation with somebody where you can part ways and have a good relationship. And that's what it was. I'm like, here's what I need to have happen. Otherwise I gotta do what's in my best industry. Geez, I can't talk. My best deal for my family and for my business. And at the time, and I said, I'm not going to go back and forth. If you can't do it, I understand. I appreciate what you've done. But if I get what I'm trying to find elsewhere, that's where I'll go. And that's when I made a change. And I think it was 2016. And I was real fortunate. It was good timing. It was through relationship building and stuff. And now, I've been able to be a part of something that's growing and actually be involved with some of those decisions. I really can't talk. Some of those decisions with like the engine and the colors and whatever it is. And it was cool. At ICAST, I want to say had to be 4 years ago. We talked about like the black on black and where like the looks and appearances stuff were going. And we got to be a part of that, and it just, it's cool. And it's good timing, and they're moving into the bass industry. They've always had a reliable engine, but it was a offshore engine, a pontoon engine, and now that they're getting in that market as well. And I'm pretty pumped about it.
Yeah, that's rad, man. You're in a good spot for it for sure.
So are we still talking boats or can I ask something random?
You can do whatever you want.
It's your show. You ask
Yeah, yeah. You do whatever you want.
Okay, what is something about you that people don't know or wouldn't guess? Because like Palaniuk, he told us that he loves to dance.
Which nobody saw coming.
We were like, what?
And he said it quick too. He was like, I love dancing.
I would say that, but then I would, and another reason why we get along, just dance party. At my wedding, I thought the guy was going to break his knees. He came.
Oh my gosh!
Absolute blast. We have a picture, so I'll try to find it. It's me and him at wedding night. Like it might have been like 3 a.m. We're in a bathtub. We're not in the bath, but we're in the bathtub, just having a beer. It's like one of those jacuzzi tubs, and I'm here and he's there, and like his wife and my wife are here, and we're just like, it was.
That's amazing.
So fun.
Yeah. That's dope. That's a good answer.
It's weird. Most people don't think you majored in math. That's just weird. That's probably what I say, just because that's kind of unique. A lot of people hate math, and I always like math.
No, that's cool though. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. So do you use your math when you're dancing? Or are you out there counting steps?
No, you gotta feel it.
Okay.
Flow.
Okay. You gotta
look at that.
feel it.
Did you see that arm move?
Yeah, you gotta.
You just see what my legs are doing, man.
Yeah, you gotta feel it.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
I can't wait to be that. My girls love to dance.
Okay.
Like literally love to dance. And like the song, like I think it's Sugar with Adam Levine, and Cardi B comes on. My one daughter wants to be, I be Cardi B, and she gets up and does this whole
go girl. Does your wife like to dance?
Weird dancing with that. It's gonna be a blast.
Does your wife like to dance?
Oh, she does. We like to dance. She might not like to dance as much as me, but she likes to dance.
Okay, well that's
good times, 3 babies, where we got to have some dance parties and whatnot. But
yeah,
we'll get back to that.
You will.
Yeah, dude. It was a couple of months ago. Yeah, that I had the honor of marrying a buddy of mine I've known for years and years and years, and it was one of the rare opportunities where Lola and I had a weekend together, and that was part of like his like paying for me to do his wedding. He put us up in this super nice hotel for like 3 days, and then we went to the reception, and boy, we danced.
We danced.
We got down to get down, dude, on like every song.
Because the hangover lasts. Now that's our issue. It's like,
neither one of us drink, so it worked out.
It was just fueled by stupidity and water.
Yeah, a lot of booty shaking.
A lot of booty shaking.
So that's even if you don't have the hangover, then you have the body aches and like, oh my god.
That's true.
Yeah. It's like snowboarding. Yeah.
Jordan was holding his back. He was.
I think was that the night I took a picture of what we had on our bed. I think we had like gas pills, Tylenol, gummy worms, like chocolate, like all these random things.
Yeah, dirty socks. Yeah, old man going to dance though. He's
but we had the Tylenol.
Yeah, yeah. We were doing Soldier Boy Tell 'em and all kind of other nonsense. Yeah, we're letting it rip.
Yeah, our little baby here whip, and she goes,
oh my god,
that's it, dude. I don't even know where we are on our list. Nate, you know where we are on our list? I don't even know where we are. This is awesome.
Yeah, I think I got the next one, and it's
okay.
It's yeah, so we ask a lot of all the anglers that we have on our
this
podcast,
is actually a good one.
kind of what separates a good angler from a great angler, and we've gotten a few different answers, some similarities, but what's your take on that? What separates a good from a great? And the hair, that's what it is.
No, what's in between the hair? I wish, because I'd be better off in the AOI standing.
Well, and it would explain my struggles with the rod and reel. So
yeah.
Man, I get asked that all the time. Like, what makes somebody? It's not you can cast further or better. It's literally what's going on upstairs. Who's thinking of what quicker? It's not you versus the other 100 guys. It's you against the fish. You know what I mean? Like figuring out what they're doing before they start doing, and that's what Kevin Van Dam has always been so much better about. Like picking up on things as not after they happen, but as they're happening. And being able to adjust and make those decisions. Like some of the better tournaments, like I said, that Sabine River tournament. Like I got bit. I don't think I ever caught a fish on a square bill in practice, but I ended up fishing mostly a square bill because I was trying to cover water on the trees. Just one of those things you just make a little change, and it's not making that change at like 2 p.m. It's like it's picking that bait up and it's picking it up at 7:30, 8 a.m. when you haven't made a cast with it. Just like that feels right, and then all of a sudden, oh, this is where I need to go. I need to run with this. And it's hard to do that because more often than not, you've got guys chasing bites. You're going to waypoints where you got bites. That's how I grew up fishing. Yep. Here you've got a rock, I got a bite here. I got a bite here. And that's what I like to do. I love to run and gun, but there's a time and a place for when you just need to figure it out. And a lot of those tougher fisheries, sometimes you got to just kind of go through the motions and figure out what is happening that day and put down what, was working and pick up what is working, and I try to practice different now because of that. Like before I'd get on one thing and like my rookie year, I swear, if you could win practice, like I was angler of the year for practice.
You could win practice.
Like 8 or 9 out of 9 tournaments, like ridiculous. Like the weights were like top 5, but I would get so dialed into what was happening. I had a hard time adjusting. I would keep chasing what was working. And then I wouldn't just figure out how to catch the fish that stopped biting what I was doing, and that's what you see more often than not. Like these fish do the same thing. So when your deal is one-sided and it goes away, it's probably going away everywhere. Like there's always fish biting somewhere, but they may not be biting what you were doing, So for me, it's what's upstairs. And the year BP won Angler of the Year, the first time I was rooming with him in 2016, that was the worst year I had, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot from him because I had good practices, and 7 out of the 9, I beat him in practice. We don't share waypoints or whatever. Full trust. If he needed anything, I'd give it to him, but you share what's going on. And I knew he was struggling. A couple of them. One in particular was at, can't remember, it was a river. He ended up making a top 10. And it was one of the deals I got on a drop shot, like on deep brush and stuff. And he had 0 bites one day and 2. And I clued him into what I was doing, and he got in the creek and had a couple bites. Well, what I was doing got muddy. All I had to do was move in back behind this bridge and search for cleaner water. But it's so hard at 9 o'clock in the morning to be like, well, this is muddy. I know what to look for. Go find it. You find it every day in practice. Well, guess what? BP does. He's Angler of the Year that year, right? He hasn't caught crap in practice. His couple places he doesn't get bit on, he goes and looks for it. He develops the deal every day, finishes like 5th. And that is, you can't teach that. Like you got to have it, and it's hard to develop that over time.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Let me ask you a weird question. Do you ever talk to yourself?
All day long.
Yeah. Do you ever more specifically, and maybe I'm going to sound like a real wackadoodly here.
Why? Because you do this?
Because sometimes I talk to myself out loud. Like if I'm fishing a derby and practice, I can think of one specifically on this lake called Nelson Lake, north of where we live. I found this really dope point. I mean, it just looks like fishing 101, where it goes from 8 inches and it follows down and riprap down to, I don't know, 5-6 feet, and it's probably a block long, and I'm throwing square bills on it, dragging them across and coming down, staying a ways off, and I'm just smacking them to the point where I had to tell myself to get out of there during practice because I don't want to wear them out. And then I go there for the tournament, and there's not a fish to be found. Not a fish to be found on that little point. And I literally told myself, dude, put the square bill down. Like I said it out loud, like a crazy person, because I almost had hear myself dude, this isn't freaking working. It's not working, but it's so easy to be like, oh no, I caught them here. They're here. I caught them here. They're not. Do you ever talk to yourself out loud, force yourself into making a
all
move?
day, every day? And I joke when I have a co-angler in my boat or a camera, if I'm on camera, I want people to know what I'm thinking. It's not fun to watch fishing. It's fun to watch people catch fish, but they're not always catching. But it's neat to watch people go through the process, especially live now. And I want people to know what I'm thinking. But I always say, whether a camera's in my boat or not, if I have a Marshall or whatever, I'm talking all day long. I'm not going to turn around and talk to you, but I'm going to talk all day. Sometimes you're like, what'd you say? And I'm like, oh, and then I kind of explain, dude, I'm going to talk all day. And if you can hear me, good. If you can't, no worries. You can talk back. I'm listening, but I'm fishing. But part of my deal is I want to walk myself through the process. I want to make changes. I want to talk out loud. I want to coax the fish into biting, whatever. I mean, it's all again, it's all upstairs. It's making the decision quick enough, the adjustment, stay, whatever it is. That's what you're thinking about. And it helps to talk through things like anything in life. So if you're talking to yourself, I mean, it works. And it just, the other thing is man, I'm going to get bit. If I don't get bit here, I can slide over there. Being positive about where that next deal might happen. Because if you're oh gosh, I haven't a bite in 3 hours, you're not going to get a bite. You're not even thinking about getting bit. You're thinking about getting bit. You know what I mean? Worried about gas and beer after the turn or whatever. You will get bit. They are a fish. They're smart sometimes, but you just walk yourself through the process. And I like to do that. I always joke, you're a fisherman, you're a trucker, and you're a cheerleader. It's a good mesh of all three,
Yeah. That was
Speaking
really
of
good.
talking to your cameraman or whoever's in your boat, we were watching one of your videos. What was it? He caught it 8-11.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it was. You know where it was.
Was that Fork?
New personal best. Yeah.
That was a Fork, right?
We were watching that, and you were so kind to the people in your boat. Like you're funny. You're fighting this fish going around the boat, and I told him, I was like, I would be so anxious having to move around these people.
And the camera guy.
And you're like, oh, move to your left, please. Like you were like just polite. So nice. Like you're fighting this fish, and you're just so happy and kind. I just really appreciated that.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that, because I had a girl that lived across the hall from me in college, and one day she's like, you can't be this damn man. You need to get punched in the face. He said it. I'm like, you don't wish that upon anyone. Man. Yeah, like I am a polite person, but I just feel like, if something got in the way where I had to do something, like you've got time, you can say things without being an ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like have a conversation and in the boat, and I just like, you can control your attitude, you can control what you say. I mean, that's about, you can't control the fish bite or this or that. There's a few things you have control over, so might as well do them the right way.
So being a positive guy, is it discouraging for you when, practice is great and then the day of it's really not great when you're trying to actually catch the fish? Like, is that, or do you just kind of snap out of it?
I say I snap out of it.
Yeah.
Well, but it's one of those, like, you get used to it. Cause I mean, you're literally chasing a living creature for a job. So it's like, it's not like you shoot your free throws, you make your free throws. You know what I mean? Like you do everything right. You could have an engine fail. You could have a prop. You could get, weather changes. There's so many variables. That's why it's like you control what you can control. So you go out there, you put in the work, you try to find different patterns. That way, if one thing goes away, another thing comes up. So it's like something you may have had one bite in practice might be the deal. So I try to be, when I practice, find an area that has fish, then look for a variety of things, whether it's structure, different things going on. Like that's what helps me be successful. And I feel like the tournaments I've done well, I'm in an area, I'm still doing what I like to do. I'm bouncing around, but I'm not like running to this spot to get a bite, or I'm running 4 miles where I got a bite here. You're going through the process, figuring out what is the deal each day.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to kind of go back on what you said about the kind of like the way that you speak, the way that you say things, the words you use. With us having 43 children, some of them will, they'll sneeze, they'll cough, and then comes, oh, I'm so sick. Oh, I think I'm sick. Oh man, I gotta have a cold. I'm sick. And I'm like, dude, stop. You're gonna talk yourself into actually being sick. Like, speak some positivity. Like you don't have to lie. You don't have to front. You don't have to be fraudulent. But like, there's a line, isn't there, between like speaking death or speaking positive, whatever. And do you find, like, with your positive vibes, do you find that you fish better when you're thinking positive? I mean, do you ever spin out?
Oh, I wouldn't say I spin out. Like but I am always, I will say I'm going to catch them until I don't catch them. I've had some great tournaments on camera where I like led the first day, and I'm, it's 1 o'clock. I don't have the fish in the boat. And I end up going back, doing something at the Mississippi River and catching 5 keepers for 13 pounds, like a 3.5 pounder with 5 minutes to go. And it is amazing when something like that comes together. There's a lot of times when it doesn't as well. And people don't always see that, but I feel like when you can control the process, and be in a good mindset, like more often than not, like you may get that opportunity, and that way you're not going to miss it. If you're just down in the dumps, like not thinking about how to get the next bite, you might have that tournament where it could happen, but then you're not ready for it. Like I think it's a quote, Kevin, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Same thing like with your attitude. Yeah. You got a crap attitude. Like you may get that opportunity, but you may not even be able to recognize it because you're so one-sided or hot-headed or whatever's going on,
Yeah. Man, that's amazing advice.
Yeah, with that being said, so I assume you're one of those guys that fishes to the absolute last second of a day before you got to make your run back.
Yeah, and yes and no, because I do know that, again, I try to control what I control. So I know there's other variables. Like I've been on Lake St. Clair and had to run back, and it's blowing 20 out of the north. When I ran all the way to Erie, I'm protected. I'm like, it's going to be 5 footers in St. Clair, and I get back and it's like glass. There's different fronts out there. There's boating things. I've been on the way back at the St. Lawrence River, and I had an issue where they had props one year that people were buying, and they had a bad, like you just throw an ear, just driving, and had to go to the bank and get in the water and change the prop. So I've learned, like, there's a time and a place to cut it close, and like, fish. Right. Give yourself, if you got a 30 to 50 minute run, give yourself 10 or 15 minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
But then have stuff close. Don't go in 10 minutes early, but like get near check off. So if something happened, hey, if this happens, I'll be able to jump in a boat because other people will be near here, or I'll be able to make this change,
Yeah. Dude, you're going to win some stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm ready. I'm ready, man.
You're a little too smart and a little too good at this, I think, to not win some crap. Dude, a couple of years ago, our youngest daughter, Lucy, fell and broke her collarbone. And it was the weirdest thing in the world to me that they would not do anything about it. Like they just let it like heal, kind of whatever.
Did mine.
Yeah. You can see it. Tell us about your collarbone. How did that all go down?
I interrupted. What about Lucy's collarbone? Come on.
No, yeah. I mean, it was just that, like it healed, but like at the hospital, like they wouldn't do anything. Like it, it's over, and now she has this little lump where they kind of were like overlapping each other.
Well, she fell to the ground. She got a little push to the ground, and she landed weird, and we were looking at it like, is it broken? Is it not? And then I pulled it over, and it was like a golf ball thing, and I was like you could see. Oh, the golf ball thing maybe was after when it was healing. It was it was pretty much right away. It was really strange. Awful. I was like, I think she's got to go in.
Yeah, but that ain't no joke. So tell us about your fun with your collarbone.
Yeah, and it's funny how again it was good timing. It was one of those like it could have happened anytime. That was we had fished 2 events to start the season. I came back, I play hockey. I'm like, I know my job, but I'm not gonna not live life, So I enjoyed playing hockey. I played, try to play a little smarter now. But just the doctor said you can break a collarbone like super easy based on like the angle at which you hit. Not force. It's just about how it happens, I guess, where the pressure is.
Yep.
And it was a 2-on-0, skating past the puck to my buddy. He shoots and scores. I turn, catch a rut in the ice, and just go down like kind of close to the boards, and literally just put my arm up to like kind of catch myself.
And that's what did it.
And just went, and I just screamed right. I knew it right when it happened. I never really broke bones much.
Yeah.
It just burned, and then it hurt bad. Mine was like overlapped by, I want to say like an inch, 2 inches.
Eesh.
Well, it was nasty. So they had to pull it back and then put a plate and screws in it. And
they did do that. Okay.
Yeah, you had surgery on yours.
It was funny how it worked though. Like I knew I had the same thing, being positive. I'm like, well, he said I can't do anything for a month. I've got a tournament in a month and a half. I had the surgery.
I'm gonna do it. It's a good time.
They said, yeah. They said you can't lift stuff for over 5 pounds in this hand. Well, I fished this way, so we fished Lake Hartwell next. I went and I just practiced with a wacky worm. I had a terrible start to that year in Florida, and it was one of those deals where I just went in and I'm like, I just need to get some points and see what happens. And I went in and just fished the wacky worm. Thankfully, it was the spring, and they were biting the wacky worm, but I just fished relax and just like I remember driving. Everybody's flying by me. I'm going like 40 because it still hurt to drive. I'm just
bounce around, yeah.
Yeah, and I finished like fifth or 6th.
Wow, that's so sick.
That Lake Fork fish you caught was 2 tournaments after that.
Okay.
And I would land the fish in the other one and like hold him with this hand and reach in and grab with my other hand. I mean, it changes how you think. And they talk about like the baby, thing where somebody's having a baby, the baby run or whatever, and they catch fish. I honestly think it changes your thought process. Same thing like my arm. You start to care about something else. So what? Your wife's pregnant, you got a 1-year-old, whatever. You have a different perspective. You're not like, oh my God, I got to catch a fish. You're like, dude, I got my kids are healthy. Life is good. I'm going to go home. And all of a sudden you're just doing different things. And I think my buddy Garrett Paquette that I travel with, who fished for a few years, he does a bunch of stats, and he's like, people peak in their mid 40s. And it's because financially you're in a good place usually.
Sure.
Your knowledge of lakes a good place. And I also think has to do with them damn kids.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, it
was a big adjustment for me. Like when Emery first came, she was my 3.5-year-old, like trying to figure out like the dynamics. Cause I want to help. My wife needs my help. Like I'm going to be there. I'll figure out the fishing thing at night later, but it takes a lot of back and forth. And I struggled at 2 or 3 tournaments in the middle, and then we figured it out and it got good. Well, this year was the first year we've had 2 traveling. First year, and there was a lot of balance, and I wouldn't change anything for the world. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes myself fishing, caught some can't talk. I'm literally drinking water.
I can never talk. I feel like I mess up my words all the time, so you're fine.
Yeah.
But I feel like I caught some bad breaks with weather and a handful of things too. But I do think some of that stress, like you don't know what contributes or how to relay what contributes. Like I don't know what changes upstairs, but like there's a second when you're not focusing after that can make a change. It's just such little teeny things. Like I said, if you make that change or adjustment at 10 a.m. instead of 2:30, you're 30th instead of 80th. And like, I feel like a lot of the tournaments where I didn't do well, there was maybe I could have picked up something quicker, and it's not because of your kids, but it's one of those, like, there's a lot of different factors. I think that was one of them this year. And I'm excited to get healthy and like, just get back to doing the things I like to do. And, and I'm ready for 2024.
Let's go.
Let's get it. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go.
So we talk about show and tell.
Yeah.
And did you bring something to show and tell us about?
I did. I did a little bit. It's kind of funny. It's not really funny. It's kind of corny. I'll show it to you. They're behind me because there's a funny story with these, but they're super meaningful.
All right.
Okay.
You grab these, and this is going to sound weird until I tell you the story.
Okay. All right.
I'm excited.
I'm ready.
So I got 2 of these. Angler of the Year Northern Opens, 2012, 2016. Boom.
Amazing.
2 greatest accomplishments. That still hurts to boot. But 2 fishing greatest accomplishments of my life. The crazy thing is, I bought those. I literally had to buy. I bought them because at the time they didn't have them. And like, I fish. The first one is from when I made the Elite Series. I kid you not. And I posted this like a few years back, and people thought it was like, where'd you get those? Like, it is so hard to win anything in fishing. You literally lose every tournament. These are the 2 times I won. But at the time, you didn't get a penny. You didn't get a trophy. You got an invite, which is wonderful. I am so fortunate to be where I'm at with fishing, but it's just wild. You didn't get anything to like tell your kids a story on down the road. And as I fished a little bit more, I'm like, dude, I mean, it's funny. Like, you want something to show someone.
Something tangible to be like, look what I did.
For sure.
It's so hard to get a trophy. Like, you have a check. It's nice to go in the bank and you spend it. It goes away. But you have nothing to be like.
It's about that hardware.
It is. It's so weird. It's like, I don't want to buy a trophy that I didn't earn. But like, I'm telling you, these trophies are hard to earn. And like, I literally have my job because of 2012 when I made the Elite Series. This is why I have a house. This is where I am where I'm at. In 2016, I won Angler of the Year again. And my first 5 years, 3 of the years I was on the chopping block to get cut. In 16, I would have been the last guy in the Elite Series. And Cliff Crochet got in because of me, because I won Angler of the Year in the last term in New York. And I got my spot in New York. Because of that tournament was in September. I did not have to wait until December to get my invite. I got it right away because I was into the Opens. That's the year I signed with Suzuki. Without winning that Open, maybe I would have missed the boat ride with the Suzuki on it. Maybe I would have missed that deal. But I didn't because I won the Open. So I just think it's crazy that like where I'm at in my life is because of these 2 things. And I'm like, yeah, I had to pay there's like a $500 trophy or $480 or something. I had to call Bassmaster. Get permission, and then that way, like, it's the legit deal. It's got their logos on it. It's got it all. And I paid my hard-earned money for it. I would do it again.
I think that is awesome. Like, funny, but like awesome.
That's amazing. That's
and like you said, meaningful.
Yeah. I think that's amazing. Yeah. So did you design those, or did they already have that and you just had to like pay for it to get it?
They give it to them now. Like, that's what right. I didn't design anything. I said, hey, you guys, this is what you give them now. I just want to get the same thing.
Like, I did this.
I don't need anything special for me. I'm not like not making up a trophy. I'm just getting what I feel like I should have got.
You earned it for sure. On that same note, can you do a Cliff Crochet impersonation?
The first, this one's for Fred. This one's for Fred. The first time I saw him on TV, he was talking about catching fish on a frog. He was saying, "This one's for Fred," like Fred Rumbanis. This one's for Ed. I couldn't understand what he was saying. I had no idea. And I've stayed with him at a couple houses, dude. I love it. Nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
I just remember, I'm like, what is he saying?
Yeah.
He was talking about his frog, who he was catching fish for.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast recently. It might have been Luke Duncan. I can't remember. Somebody had Cajun Baby on, and he would talk on like the phone or the mic, whatever he was speaking into, and then his kids kept on coming over to ask him stuff, and like, dude, like his Cajunness would ramp up by about 82% when the kids would come over. So he'd be like on the phone, like, yeah, I went down to the water and blah blah blah. And his kids would come over, he'd be like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would just because he's just talking to his own people. Like, it was so funny, man. That's a cool cat, though. I like that guy a lot.
He is. He's a real good dude.
Yeah, he seems really legit for sure. All right, well let's hit you up with a couple more, man. We'll let you get to bed at some point. But we do want to ask you. What'd you say?
I'm all fired up now. I can't go to bed.
Oh, great. Well, let's keep rolling then, dude.
These are the conversations I have while I'm driving the car. I'm like, I look down, I've almost ran out of gas, and the thing just beeps. I'm like, damn, that was 34 gallons of gas. I need another phone call, get some gas.
One conversation.
See? Yeah, just give us a call.
Yeah, put me on your list, dude.
So
put me
awesome.
on. I'm down to talk.
I'm in.
I bet. Let's do fishing questions.
All right, yeah. So if the good Lord said, Chad, I like you, pick your lake. Pick your lake. Where are you going to catch them at? Where are you going?
We're going to Oneida.
Oneida.
Yep, New York. It's got isolated rock piles, gravel piles, and you got like grass lines and sand flats. Yeah. That's one place I feel like I should have won before. Had chances. I finished like 5th, 6th, 8th, 9th out of 200. If the elite goes there for 4 days, sign me up. I'm in.
Okay.
That's so how you
it had lots of opens up there.
Oh, it's a great place.
How are you catching them?
Yeah.
If you're going there,
I can tell you that.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Just kidding.
Never mind. That's
a
good point.
I catch them on everything. Grass. I catch them on top water. I catch them on my DC 300. We drop shot my new bait from Perfection, which isn't out yet, but they are going to eat.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm stoked to see that bait, dude. Yeah, because the fact that you were so quick to say that, like finesse or power, and you said finesse, drop shot. I've seen videos of you drop shotting to see what, and Perfection makes some dope stuff as it is. Yeah. So something that has your name on it, dude.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm stoked to buy a few of them for sure. Buy a few bags.
Yeah. Is there anything on the elite schedule that you're really pumped about?
Oh, I want to say because I got burned this. I want to say Lake Champlain. That is one of my favorite places in the country. And last year, I feel like was the weirdest deal ever, where every bass that was big was suspended. There was a couple good groups in the grass in practice, and they were gone. It was the weirdest deal. Like there wasn't any juvenile perch in the grass. There was giant perch and schools of walleye. I caught more walleye in practice than I have my entire life. You'd see them on live and be like, "There's 7 walleye." You could catch every one of them.
Wow!
Like I hope we go back, and I hope everybody goes out and catches some fish on live. And there's a bunch of big giant ones in the grass that I can catch cranking on a big top water and like have a blast, because that'd be nice.
Yeah,
that sounds super
rad,
fun,
dude. So speaking of what you just said, so with forward-facing sonar, and we are not going down like the weird bashing, whatever. I'm so sick of that talk. But do you think there will be, regardless of the tour, it could be BPT, BASS, National Professional Fishing League, whatever. Do you think there's going to be rule changes regarding that?
Man, our industry is driven by change. That's why there's college fishing. That's why there's high school fishing. That's why there's sponsors that have dollars. You don't limit that. Like if you do, you say, hey, you can have 60 inches of screen or 50 inches of screen. You can have 1 forward-facing sonar. If they wanted to do that, I could see them saying you can have 1. That's fine. Yeah. But they're not going to say, hey, you guys are pros. You can't use this, but everybody else.
I don't think so either.
You know what I mean? But they need to find a way to do, which they are, is find a way to show viewers what we're seeing. And they have that now.
That is so cool.
I've got a wire in and out cable thing here. You plug in the back of the Apex and they can see what you're seeing. And that, when people see that, it's exciting.
Yeah.
And I think you'll see some of that more. And then just do a better job of scheduling. As far as, it was just a weird year at Champlain. We should have been seeing topwater explosions, crankbait bites, big large. Sure. It was just a weird deal. Like all the giant smallmouth were out, and that's what happened. Yeah. And you had like 3 tournaments in a row where everybody saw that. But it's the same thing. You got a tournament in the spring, and you have 3 sight fishing tournaments where all the Drews are catching them, and people would be like, "Oh, this is boring" as well. So it's one of those like, it was just a weird time. I think it was a weird deal. You know?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just where we're at. We all run forward-facing sonar. We're not anti. I was just wondering if, like you said, that like the idea of like limiting how many screens or limiting how many transducers you can have, like people having 3 on the back and 5 on the front and all the craziness where it's like 360 and live essentially. Like, it's kind of a crazy deal.
I wouldn't be opposed to them saying, hey, have 60 inches in one unit. But again, it's technology. Like you don't hammer a nail anymore. Use a nail gun on a rope. You know what I mean? There's different tools for the job. Yeah. And there's times where like you can't catch those fish you see. Like I really think that people saw it last year when that's what was happening. Like to go from St. Clair to Thousand Islands, Champlain, all in a row. It was that was it. You go to other tournaments where you're going to watch all these fish chase your bait, and you're just going to be getting frustrated.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing too that people don't tend to talk about that much, I think, is that like as much as forward-facing sonar is dope, and it is, man, it's really fun. It's also, it can drive you bat crap crazy. Like if you roll up on a school, like especially up here, like a school of, what you're interpreting to see is a bunch of small jaws off a rock hump or something, and you're jerk baiting and they come up and they go, and they change their mind, and then you throw back out there with a lipless or a blade bait and bring it right through, and they move out of the way, and you're like, dude, what the? It's almost, and then it's harder to make that move to go to the next spot because you're like, I know there's fish here. So I mean, it can be awesome, but it can also like almost be a detriment on some level, don't you think?
Yeah, you have to. It's a tool, and like if you use it the wrong way, you will get smoked with it because
that's exactly right.
You don't even realize what you're doing because you're chasing a fish. So
yep.
What you have to do is use it as a way to learn, like what fish are responding to. These fish inactive? Are they here? Are they there? And I think that's the best thing about it, is just how much we can learn and how quickly we can learn things. There are fish that weren't targetable before, like suspended fish on flats, and like those fish out there, like that's a hard fish to target. Now you can actually target those fish if you want. A lot of the other stuff, we're just more efficient. You know what I mean? Like you catch more fish. I call them bonus fish. You're fishing grass edge or jerk bait, and then you see something out there and you make a cast or two. Like it's pretty neat to be able to do that now too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's dope, dude. I like that a lot.
So what would you say is one aspect of your fishing game that you would like to improve on in 2024 this year?
Oh, my fishing game, man, winning.
I know you, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. No. So I know you've been at it, 11, 12 years now or whatever, been at it a long while. Is there, any one particular thing? Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be a technique or anything.
I've gotten better in Florida, like learning to stay put. I've had some good Florida tournaments because it's not my style. It's not, pick it up, run and gun. It's put the trolling motor down for a while and keep figuring out because they're going to turn on or they're going to move in. So I feel like for me this year in Texas will be a really big, because those are Florida strain fish. There's bass timber, they turn on and off, like coming off with a good start there. And that's like a thing I need to work on, is that fishing in the timber and in the grass, like I would say, pre-spawn wintering, because I've had, like I said, 6 classics and they've pretty much all been terrible besides the one we fished in the summer. And I found the fish sometimes, I just haven't waited, and made the right adjustments. So I feel like those 2 first Texas tournaments, they're going to be in that window of winter. And like, I want to make the right wintertime adjustments and slow down when I need to. So I'm leaving mid-January to go down for a week and kind of get a feel for that. And that's my goal, to get rolling down in Texas.
That's dope. Yeah. Are you stoked to start in Texas this year?
Yeah, dude, I am. I like the change up because I think we'll go to Florida when, April, when those fish should be chewing. It should be more of a, crankbait, top water jerk bait kind of deal. And that's less wacky worm and sight fishing. I'll be excited to see some of that.
Yeah. You've talked about crankbaiting quite a bit. Even though you said you would choose like finessey stuff, square billing could be my favorite way to catch them. That 811, that was on a Demiki square bill, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's on the 300. It's a little bit bigger build. Dives like 8 to 12 feet.
Oh, okay.
I've won more money on that crankbait than anything I own, besides the drop shot. But like when I won the Open on Lake Erie, I caught everyone on that crankbait, and it was a blast. Really? I caught like 70 pounds of smallmouth in 3 days, and I love cranking. I just feel like it fits my style, like running and gunning, and it's hard to that bite like.
Yep, it's so fun.
Would you say that's your strongest technique?
I would say, like, I'm not like the finessey. I'm not using anything less than 7 or 8 pound line, but I think my strongest technique is that middle depth targets fishing, whether like I would say 4 to 8 feet, like the stuff that I feel like is overlooked a lot, whether it's,
I was just going to say that's not a common one. Yeah.
I like it where, you can't just drive over and see the fish. I like to be able to find the targets and the structure and fish the structure. That's kind of my deal with a drop shot, shaky head, crankbait, jerkbait,
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for us, like
improving in that, like that mid range? Cause you're right. That is a sort of overlooked water column.
Now with the technology, I mean, it's literally just it's identifying the sweet spot. Like before, it was so hard. You'd mark something, you know what it was, and you try to hit it with your cast. Now it's like you can find stuff with side imaging, then you can set up on it, use the 360 line up, then put live on to see, like, you can literally get the bait angle.
Yeah.
You just learn a lot about that, and you can fish it so efficiently and quickly now. And that's the main thing. It's just being efficient, knowing if you need to spend a little more time, if you're getting the right clues, or if it's time to roll,
Yeah.
That's great. I imagine that's something that newer Humminbird VX card helps with a lot too, with like color shading and identifying depth ranges and all that stuff, right?
Definitely. When you go to a new lake, the hardest thing about going is where to start and how to break things down. But when you have something like that where you're like, oh, dude, I'm getting a lot of bites in 20 foot of water, and you can make all these colors different, it just it's easy to miss something that's just the same color, like contour line. But if it's, because you don't know if it's getting deeper or shallower, if it's, when it's all jumbled. But if you've got colors that stand out, it helps a ton to break down stuff. And what it really helps with is after you get an area and you start to get dialed in, is that next step. Like, okay, this was a top 30 or 40. Okay, if I find some more of this stuff, I might have a shot to win or a top 10. So now it's like, it's 1 o'clock, first day of the tournament. You've caught them decent. Let's go look for some new stuff. And that's when it really starts to come together.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're a lefty guy, right? Spinning and bait casting.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up. I'm right-handed, so like I fished a spinning reel so long that it felt weird when I had a bait caster. You know.
Yeah, Nate does that too. So here's the funny thing about it.
Wait, isn't that what I did? And then you're like, no. Yeah. I don't want to have to change it over every time.
You did right-handed bait casting, right-handed spinning. And I always do right-handed bait casting, left-handed spinning.
So I was wrong, but I'm left-handed, so I don't know.
Yeah, so we're all kind of mixed up a little bit.
Like golf right-handed, so you know.
I bat right-handed, I throw left-handed, I cut hair right-handed. Weird.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Right on. I was just asking because like you would think, because like there was one time when Nate and I we were filming for a video for this jig company on the Mississippi River, and I told Nate, I was like, dude, I'm only bringing a camera and a drone. I'm not bringing a rod and reel, because if I do, I'm not gonna want to film. I'm only gonna want to fish, you know. So like and so we go out there and we get some good footage.
Fish are biting that day, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. Actually, he caught. What did you catch? Like a 5 or something under that dock on that jig?
It was like 4.5 pounder. Yeah, that I.
Jordan's holding the camera, crying.
Yeah, like God dang it. So then, I'm like, okay, I'm a fish, and so I grabbed one of his rods and reels, and I swear on my life, I felt like a T-Rex or something, and it doesn't make any sense. But like when I would bait cast with like my left hand, I was like I just couldn't.
You start reeling in backwards.
Yeah, it felt. But like when I spin, I use my left hand like it's nothing, and yet bait casting with my left hand or like trying to like work a bait with, it just felt like I just was like it felt like I was like dehydrated or something, and my muscles were like shriveling up. And what? It's so weird, isn't that strange? How our brains just like do that to us.
I broke. I've been hurt a lot since I met my wife, I guess. But when we got engaged, we were out there.
You're giving us so many quotes, dude.
Dude, seriously, I broke my scaffold when we got engaged. We were out snowboarding, and we went down literally twice. The first time down, I broke my hand. I just got up, whatever. And we got engaged the next time down, and we got back home like, dude, I need some frozen peas or something. My hand is hurt, and ended up having a break here. I had to get it cast.
Wow.
We got it off the week before the Elite Series started in I think it was 2016, even maybe one of those years. But my grip strength went from like 120 to like 16. I couldn't even start the car. And I fished the first event, and like he's left-handed, or I only did spinning reels, and I put the handles on the other one. I was cast by, I remember for like a month at home, like January, you know, I'm in the backyard trying to cast with my spinning reel. Trying to get used to it, because it's such a different feel.
Yeah, it shouldn't be, right? But it totally is. It absolutely is. When you are going back to like the crankbait and the mid range, even the deeper stuff, are you a glass rod guy? What's your setup look like?
Yeah, ours it's the sway one that we designed. It's a glass composite. It's like a hybrid. And
it's got
a nice backbone to it, but super forgiving, soft tip, like parabolic. It's a good combination of the two. I mean, you can throw it a mile, but you still have to have a little bit of power to drive the treble hooks home, you know, with the soft tip to keep the bait hung. So
what's your favorite length of rod on that?
The one that I made is just it's a 7 foot. It's good for it's blind rod, perfect for the 300, and that's what it's for. I still throw a square bill on that. Like when I top 10 at Sabine, I caught every fish on that pretty much. That's like, I feel like the all around rod. You know, if you're like tight quarters, I have a 6'10" that I'll throw a square bill on, or like that kind of deal. Then you get up to the bigger base, the 8XDs and stuff. They've got a nice 7.4 and an 8 foot. But like, it's different landing. You talk about awkward landing a fish with an 8 foot rod. You got to grab middle of the rod.
Yeah, that's a big rod.
It is. Thank you.
Would you rather be bald, or would you rather lose 6? I'm just kidding. Yep, never mind. We'll keep it moving there. So you touched on this a little bit, Chad, but I'm always really intrigued by some of the behind the scenes type stuff. And what I'm referring to specifically is the business side of stuff. And I know you kind of essentially, from your words, you kind of had like a mentor with it. But how do you, maybe I'm just too soft, but I feel like it would be really hard when you see dudes like completely change sponsors of boats, change motor sponsors, change rod and reel sponsors. How did you learn the business side of fishing? And have you seem like a really nice fella. You seem like a really positive dude. But do you have to have like a thick skin in order to thrive in the business side of fishing?
I don't know if it's a thick skin, but you got to be real. I mean, there's businesses, there's a lot of people coming for your job. There's businesses that are trying to make money. So if you don't have something that has value, what do they need you for? You know what I mean? Right now, there's a lot of people complaining about this or that, but the bottom line is like there's still people making a living in the industry, and you have to make changes to make that living. Sometimes it may be changing your boat and motor, or brand or whatever it is, but like the biggest thing I feel separates is like the authenticity or whatever. Like people know when you're fake. People know when you're lying. Like you're not always going to catch them on your crankbait or your whatever it is. But like with live and everything, now people see that. So like be real when you can. Like promote your products when you can. But you can't name them off. I mean, like you want to plug when you can, but just try to do the extra stuff. Do content, like do podcast, do whatever you can do. But don't just be like a walking. I want to thank A, B, C, D, E, F, G. When there's a funny story and you can tie something in, tie it in. But you want to be real with it. You want to be organic. And like, again, you got to make a living. So it's okay to change, but you just want to, don't burn bridges. One, because the people in the industry move constantly,
That's great advice.
You got to be out there hustling, seeing people, meeting people when you can. Like my title sponsor, both of them, Douglas J. Salon, Sway Rod. Like I met those guys out. I was drinking. You don't have to drink. But just be so like you don't know where or when you're going to meet people and how they may or may not impact your life. So get out there, meet people, see what happens, and like, dude, life's a good ride. Get on it.
Yeah, that's great, dude. Yeah, I love that for sure. Yeah, absolutely. How's your hunting season been?
Well, I got my PRP shot the day after hunting season, so I hunted one day on opening day. Actually shot, but I'm not a big hunter. I enjoy it a lot. I borrow a buddy's gun. I love deer sticks in the boat because they're amazing.
Agreed.
And, I missed. I've shot 4 deer at his house, and I had 1 drop of blood, didn't find it. Went out a couple times after. My elbow felt a little better and saw a couple little 4 points wrestling around in front of me, which is cool. But no venison this year.
Dang. Okay.
I know some people. We'll be all right.
I would say, we got some at the crib too. I mean, I know you got access to some elk, but if you're coming through Wisconsin at all, we'll throw some your way for sure, dude. What was here?
I was gonna ask, like, who's on your Mount Rushmore of fishing? Right? Is that a weird way of saying it?
No, that's a good way of saying it. It doesn't even have to be bass, but just like in general.
Yeah, it is bass for me because that's what I watch. But definitely, obviously, Kevin being from Michigan and winning everything, impact on the sport. But the biggest one for me growing up was Ike. Like I just feel like he was the first one, like along the lines of the Sway brand, like just changed the sport. Like Kevin won everything. Is amazing and was the GOAT, whatever. But like I think you saw the transformation of the sport with Ike and Ellie when he was in like ESPN the magazine or GQ top
GQ 10, most hated.
That was when it became more mainstream. And like dude, that guy's crazy. He's amazing, but he is wild. But that is him. Like he is unapologetically himself on the water. And that's whether you love it or hate it, like that's what draws people. And people want to see conflict, they want to see success, villain, whatever. Like that's what draws in people. For our sport to be big, like all of us anglers want it, like fishing is 1% of 1%. Like it needs to be something that other people want to watch, Not everybody races NASCAR, but a lot of people relate and watch, and they like the storylines. Like that's what fishing I feel like is becoming. And Ike was ahead of that, and outside of that, he is the best with kids, like doing stuff. I fished an open with him. The first open I ever fished was in New York on Champlain. I made a top 10, and so did he. I remember I shared a piece of pizza. I had pizza on my boat with him at the top 10 line. I remember asking him, literally, like, you want a piece of pizza? And he goes, you got a whole pie? I'm like, yeah. And he had some pizza out of my boat. That was like 15 years ago. But I also remember him literally launching his boat late because he did not leave until everyone there had a signed autograph. Like as his rally went, he waited and he launched like 30, 40 boats late because there was kids at the ramp that wanted a signature.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
I remember this was probably 2013. I fished an open as a co-angler on the Red River, and he was there fishing. I think it was because the Classic was going there the next year or something like that. Yeah. But it was the exact same way. We came off the water day one, and like he had his kids around him, and then just like everybody flocked to him, and I'm like sitting there like fanboying, just watching, and he was like, just like you're saying, like just amazing with everybody talking, shaking hands, saying hi to everybody that's coming around him, and he's still trying to get his fish up to the tanks to get weighed in, and it was a cool thing to see the way he just treated everybody around him. Like
it is cool.
Jordan really put me on to being an Ike fan over the years. So I like him a lot.
You don't know when you're going to be that impactful event, whether it's good or bad on somebody. Like if some little kid comes, hey Mick, and he's having a bad day and he treats him shit, like that kid may not fish again, and or
oh my gosh,
and that kid's like, dude, and that's what it is. I mean, that's how every day you run into people like that. You might change for good or bad, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So you got two more. You got two more on your Rushmore.
Oh, two. Oh, I guess I didn't know how many on Rushmore. I'm not a history guy, man. Aaron Martins, and again, I'm talking about like people in my he was so smart until like I'm a guy that's going to find a fish and wants to bite. He's a guy that's going to figure out every I've seen him draw gills on worm, and he's just a phenomenal human. But he just takes it to the next step. Like he was wild with that.
Yeah, I love that. We actually had the same conversation with Austin Felix, and that was one of the guys he brought up. And I feel like you could say the same things that you just said about Ike, maybe not exactly the same way, but who he was off the water was so impactful and so genuine and so caring. What an amazing dude. And then the way I remember watching a derby with him from like way back. Also, if you've not seen the Zona episode with the tribute to Aaron Martins, I mean that crap will make you cry. Like it's so good. But anywho, I don't know if he was drop shotting or doing something, but his specificity on his line setup, his knots, the way that the hook was sitting just right for like the lure. I've never seen somebody that anal about that many things at once. And at first I think I was like, oh, come on, dude. And then I see him catch them and catch them and catch them and catch them and catch them while other people are not. And he's going down to like 3-pound fluorocarbon. And I'm just like, man, he's a scientist. He was a freaking scientist, man. Like like a nice guy. Yeah. Incredible. I love Aaron Martins, and purple is so rad.
For sure. The last one, Rick Clun, man. He's won so much, but more importantly, like to do, like, I know what it takes on me to be on the road and like to practice for 15 hours, but like he's doing it at like 75, like
crazy.
It's amazing. Like
and winning.
How grueling it is on your body. He's doing it. And he's just he's won. He hasn't made a bunch of classics since I fished. He's still won twice, which is unbelievable, you know?
Yeah.
Does your family, you said they travel with you? Is that right?
Yeah. Real fortunate when my wife's a dietitian, and when we had our first daughter, she didn't go back, and, you know, the fishing's been good, and, you know, I do some other stuff on the side. And at the time, like, we make our main source of income now fishing, but at the time we just hustled and did that. And it just, they changed so much. And it's, I hate leaving. Like when I had to leave like 2 days after she was born, and I literally lost it. Like it was crazy. Yeah.
That would be so hard.
Absolutely.
Sorry, that was kind of random off of like the Mount Rushmore thing, but I was just thinking about family and
How does your wife, do your kiddos, do they like being on the boat? Do they like to fish?
My wife she actually catches giants when she fishes, and she does.
Oh, girl.
But again, since kids, I don't think I've had her on the boat. It's just hard to get out. You know what I mean? But before that, you know, she's fished in Texas with me, in Florida a little bit, up at the lake, on Lake St. Clair and stuff. We went out, and we go to my little local lake here, and we all went out in the boat this year, and I caught a few bass and a jerkbait. And my daughters love it. Like, they love the stage. They want to be on stage. Like,
that's awesome.
Hit the fish. I had a video up, and she's just like, "Daddy, you got a big old bass!" Yes.
That's so dope.
I don't know if they're gonna fish or not, but it's pretty sweet.
She didn't hit him with the giant bass.
No. She might though.
Yeah, she might could for sure. Hey, so be Nostradamus for us real quick. Give us your predictions on the Classic. Who's winning it?
Oh man. We keep talking about forward sonar. It could be one of those forward-facing sonar expert dudes. I mean, you could see a guy like, you know, Ben Milliken, like him, hate him, whatever. Like he could be a huge player. There's giant fish there, forward sonar. That kind of could be one of those deal.
Yeah.
Palaniuk he's almost won there before. I just feel like he's going to come out. So he's a buddy of mine, obviously, but I feel like it could happen for him. Even like a guy like, you know, Austin Felix, like those kind of guys that just, or Koya, Fujita, like you can not just use it as a tool, but if you're disciplined to just fish it, it might be the kind where you can find those big fish that are staging and only search for fish. You know, I don't think they're going to be up yet, spawning or anything.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's rad. Lola, Nate, you guys have anything else for C.Pip?
Well, I called you. What did I call him the other day?
Chip.
I called you Chip. Sure. Well, because I was trying to say Chad Pipkins, and it came out as like Chip Padkins or something.
Do you have anything else for Chip?
I'm just going to call you Chip.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I don't. This was awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like we could just like keep talking.
Yeah, you're a stud, dude.
I thought I'd get in trouble. You're not in bed. It's midnight. I was working. She gets it. I'm very supportive.
Yeah.
I'm very, very lucky. But we do. Yes. We work at odd times once in a while. But like I said, it's fun.
Yeah, it's absolutely fun, dude. I'm so honored to have you on our little podcast, dude. We'd loved having you on here. Is there anything you want to say? Where can people find you on social? Where can they find your website? All that good stuff. Give us the goods.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm on everything's Chad Pipkens, chadpipkens.com or Chad-Pipkens on Instagram. But if you look for that is me.
Yeah.
Not any of those scammers. Every time I put a damn contest up, I get fake things from people. I'm like, oh, you just can't get away from it.
That's so annoying.
That's the worst.
Yeah, that is the
brutal.
Worst. Yeah, that's terrible. Well, dude, we wish you nothing but the best on the upcoming season. Health, all that good stuff. We were honored to talk to you, and like I said, I think one of the deals with having you on the show specifically was that you can't find somebody to say a bad word about you. Like nobody doesn't like Chad Pipkens.
We tried for sure.
Yeah, we were like, come on.
Yeah, everybody seems
Hopefully,
everybody sees to dig your positivity. Yeah, your authenticity. And like you said, I say this all the time in 2024 now, but you know, in the day and age we live in, I don't think that people are necessarily smarter than they've ever been as a society. But I think maybe with the advent of social media and the sort of like upped transparency, I think people can smell bull crap from farther away than ever before. And I think you have a very likable, authentic vibe, man. And we hope you absolutely kill it this year.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You don't have any places to hide anymore, so you might as well be you.
You might as well be yourself, dude.
Hopefully we'll get back on and chat with you guys after we win one of these things.
Absolutely, dude. Let's get it. Yeah, for sure.
Right. So, well, we're gonna get another. I'm gonna put these guys back on a shelf, my paid purchases, and maybe we'll get a real one that I'll pay for next year.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Chad. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Thanks,
pleasure. Thank you.
What a cool dude, man.
That's so fun.
Yeah, like so. Yeah. Every podcast we do, I usually have sort of like an idea of what two things. I have an idea of what I think it's going to go like and what I hope it's going to go like, if that makes any sense, right? Like, and they don't always match up. Like sometimes they go way better than I thought they were going to go, or sometimes the person doesn't communicate the way that I thought they would, or whatever. Mm-hmm. This went as good, better than I wanted it to. Like, dude is super smart, super articulate. He's basically like a walking quote. Like, how many things did he say that you could just write down and like turn it into like your signature on like your email line? You know what I'm saying? Or whatever.
For sure.
I mean, even the stuff where he's like, I've been hurt a lot since I've been married, or I don't know, like a bunch of like funny stuff too. But man, what a cool cat. And it honestly, it's sort of like, when we talk to, and maybe it's just because they're buddies, you know, birds of a feather and all that, but it's sort of like when we talked to Palaniuk that one time, you get around certain people. It's not that dissimilar from moments where I've been able to sit down and talk to the Drurys about hunting. You get around these people and they're just sort of unintentionally barfing out this intelligence about their given passion. Mm-hmm. And it's like, there's no way this person is not going to be successful.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about Chad Pipkens.
Yep. Not
definitely. It's one of those it's one of those things where you surround yourself with kind of the stuff that you aspire to be or want to be. You know, if you want to be a positive person, you do all you can to stay around those positive people in your life. Yes. And it just bleeds off on you. You know, it's exactly like that. And he's one of those guys where his mentality, his positivity, it just bleeds off on anybody around him. Like you said, same with BP. Exactly explains why those two click so well and picked each other to fish with and had no idea. So
it takes
really
2 seconds.
Funny, right?
Yeah, that is funny.
For sure.
And it takes 2 seconds to see like who they are in a really good way, you know?
Yep.
I read an article a super long time ago. I think it was in Forbes magazine. And I think I just got like pulled in by the cover, but it said something like 0.2% of millionaires will ever be billionaires or something. And I was like, what the crap? And they did this whole study on why that is. And they said the outside of like the obvious, like the X's and O's and like financial whatevers, they said the number one
surrounding
thing
themselves around billionaires.
That's exactly right. It's all mindset. Most millionaires hang out with other millionaires. They don't hang out with billionaires. And so they don't know what that next step looks like. And I feel like Chad is one of those dudes, man. If you get him in your corner, there's no chance you don't just sort of move up. He's like this motivational, he's a rad combination of positive and passionate. And I think those two blend.
Like, and hardworking.
Yeah, hard work. Got his own paint company. Yeah, absolutely. I was hoping to get a little more into the hair stuff.
I know. I was gonna go into it more, but I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, he like where I come from, dude. Like with a lot of the people I grew up with, it was like a saying. You say, "Oh, they got that good hair."
Yeah, I wanted to ask him more questions, but I was like, I don't even know how.
I heard that for a good few years.
Got that good. Oh, you heard not anymore.
I heard that. Not no more. No, I don't.
Yeah, they say
no more.
They got that good beard hair.
Maybe it backfired all the years I heard. Oh, he's got that good hair. That backfired.
It went to your head and then went right off of your head
into your face. You have a good beard.
It's not bad. Yeah.
But how unfair is that though, dude? Like you the joke, you know, whatever. You're going bald. I'm going bald and I still don't have a beard. So like, F you, dude. Like I can't grow either, dude.
That's fair. Yeah. That's
fair. So that ain't very fun. But anyway, man. So yeah, everybody who's listening this, please check out my dude's stuff. Go to the Swait website and cop a couple of his rods. That'd be the coolest thing ever. Like I was sort of thinking while he was talking about his signature rods, that's got to be like for me when I was coming up, you know, everybody wanted to be a professional basketball player, be a professional baseball player, whatever, have your own like signature shoes. In fishing, having your own signature rod, that's basically the same thing as having your own signature shoe. And I think maybe the only thing cooler than having your own signature rod is having people use your signature rod. How unbelievably cool would that be? So yeah, man, go to the Swait, SWATE, SWATE is how you spell it. Go to their website, snag a Swait rod. And that's one of the rad things about us not having a rod sponsor. We can kind of endorse these things, even though we don't know the rods, we know the dudes behind the rod. And that's doggone good enough for me.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, 100%.
Go follow the dude on Instagram. Go give him a shout. Leave a comment and encouraging something. Like I think sometimes we think that people who have sort of like made it in whatever that medium is, I don't know, UFC fighting, sports, business, restaurants, you think that they're somehow above everything. And if they read a comment where they're like, "Hey man, I'm a huge fan. I love your rods, whatever. I bought a couple," that means the world to people. Like they're still human beings. So, be positive, get after it.
Yep.
And remember, positivity is worth the effort. Peace.
Catch you on the next one. Appreciate you guys. Bye-bye.